Calling into order the Downtown Development Authority Board meeting today, Monday, March 10th, 2025 at 12:01 p.m. Roll call, please.
Vera Woodson. Ara Vanarnam.
Present.
Jim Knight.
Present.
Brian Rosen.
Present.
Cole Davids.
Present.
Aaron Oliverton.
Present.
Moving on to the agenda approval. Has everyone looked at the agenda? Are we good to move forward? Any changes? And if so, may I get a motion?
Motion to approve the agenda?
All approve? Aye. Moving on to our public comments and partner reports. We'll start with our partners. If I see the police in the back there and chamber and anyone else that wants to come up, please. And thank you.
Jim Schmidt, Sergeant Downtown. Our cleaning site officers last month responded to 432 calls for services. They took 304 incident reports. They conducted 140 traffic stops, 38 truck stops, and they made 21 arrests.
What were those arrests mostly for? What type of arrests are we talking downtown these days?
So there was a couple DUIs. Most of them are disorderly intox or trespassing. Disorderly intox, a lot of the times after the bars close, that's when we get a lot of those calls. We end up making an arrest once we get involved. After the establishments have tried their best to do what they do, they call us, we intervene, we make an arrest. And then the trespassing, a lot of that is the vagrant issues.
Huh?
Can I ask
Yeah.
a question too? Sergeant Smith, thank you for your service.
Yes.
I don't know if anybody can hear me, but I have a teacher voice, so I'm gonna move this over because I don't
No, you
think it's
need the
working.
people that are online.
Hello, can they hear me?
The mic, it's for the people online.
I know, but it's not on. Oh, now it's on. Hello. Hi. Anyway, okay. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
You gave us a report, or your office gave us a report last year showing that the trend in police engagements declines during season. So I don't have that sheet with me, but are we seeing a spike in responses while we're in season? Because usually it goes down. So that's why I'm asking, are we reversing course on this now? And of the arrests that are being made, are they from people that are from outside of Delray, which we found from the last report you provided?
The arrest, it's higher than it was last month.
Okay.
Usually we make about 15 arrests. This was 21 arrests. It depends. Depends on what the incident is. I mentioned last month, I think, the pickpocketing, those kinds of things. We made those arrests by specifically targeting organizations from outside of our area, which, by the way, we've noticed a significant decline in pickpocketing incidences. So we were on the right track.
Yep, handled.
We targeted the right organizations, and hopefully we won't see that anymore, or at least a significant decline of that. As far as the report that you're referring to, I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'd have to see what you're referring to,
Okay.
what kind of report it was. But we've been very steady.
Okay.
I mean, even off-season, we're extremely busy down there, which,
I think
vibrant
yes.
downtown.
The
Yeah.
report was when you all were looking for support for the cameras. So that's how
Okay.
far back it went. It's probably outdated by now, but I did notice that there was a decline in arrests during season, and I thought that was interesting that we have more people but less interactions with the police, and then out of season it's higher. So that's why I was asking if we've seen that trend continue or if it was.
I don't know if there's any specific trend.
Okay.
As far as anything of that nature, it kind of ebbs and flows for no real apparent reason. We could just get, a rash of pickpocketing incidences, or an organization comes in and they target certain criminal
Neighborhoods or
elements, and
whatever.
so we'll address those as they come. But
Okay.
it's been steadily busy.
Thank you.
I had a question for you, Sergeant
Yes.
Schmidt. What's like the protocol for cars, say on Second Ave, they just park and throw on their hazards and sit there? It's like a terrible street to clog up. I mean,
Right.
is that what you're writing?
That's your share ride.
It's that, it's Uber Eats, it's people dropping friends off. It's just, I guess there's maybe, they're only there for a couple minutes, but it really does clog up traffic in that area.
On Southeast 2nd Avenue, yes.
Pineapple Grove area,
it's-
yeah.
Oh, Northeast.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Northeast
Northeast.
Second.
Okay.
Like when they stop in front of like City Place or near the
Yeah.
Ray
El
Hotel,
Camino.
They like to
Yeah.
stop on the crosswalk.
or in the hotel.
which is like
The
also
delivery
a
guys will
spot.
do it. Yeah.
And on Federal Highway. So
Yeah.
the
Pure Vita.
yeah,
I
if
was
it
there for one of those.
Northeast 2nd Avenue and Southeast 2nd Avenue and even on Atlantic Avenue, it creates a traffic issue. But as far as public safety, it doesn't create really a public safety issue as far as somebody being concerned about being hit. Federal Highway, we are concerned about. Was it Hampton Social or something? They
Yeah.
pull off on Federal
Yeah.
Highway or even on the
Yep.
southeast side.
So, do you write tickets for that, or you just say, throw on your lights and say move along, or is it?
We mostly would throw on our lights and say move along, but it's like it's an epidemic. I mean, I don't.
It's an
I
uphill
mean,
battle.
they pull over, they put their hazard lights on, they pick up their passengers. I mean, it's
They're doing that on A1A as well with Pure Vita. They pull up, and there was a gentleman that was right there in the box in the crosswalk, parked there. Your police officer was across the street and saw him, came, walked over, told him, move your car, turn around, gave him a ticket, because I was like, yes, give him the ticket. I was a cheerleader for that, but it is a hazard with the pickup, and the Uber Eats. They're just pulling over anywhere, and so I don't know if that's something we need to start looking into a designated area, but most people want it delivered to their door, so that's part of the problem.
and we have done certain things like we put designated areas at least downtown, but
They don't use 'em.
Still
No, they
just
don't use 'em.
skip.
Yeah.
So
Wait, wasn't there a code that Uber put in their algorithm where they can't drop off in certain areas, or no?
it pings to the drop off area,
But they'll be just.
but they'll
taking their
flag
own
them
way.
down in the
Yeah.
middle of the street. So
On a positive note, I just want to say thank you to Anthony Perez. He's always
Okay.
downtown doing stuff, and I've called him on a thing or two, and he's like, boom, shows up, and then even when he's not working, he takes my call, which he doesn't
Awesome.
need to do, but it's nice of him. So I appreciate that. So a
Good to
little
hear.
kudos
Yeah.
and shout out to him on the streets. For
I'll
helping.
let them know. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sergeant.
I see the chamber, Stephanie.
Hi, how's it going?
You tell us.
I'll let you know. Stephanie Imbleman from the Delray Beach Chamber of Commerce. So last week, Vivian DeMille, my advocacy chair, and I went to Palm Beach County Day and the start of the legislative session in Tallahassee. And we were joined by Rob Long and Renee Jadising in our meetings that we scheduled with the representatives. We saw Senator Berman, Senator Bernard, and Representatives Caruso, Casello, Skidmore, and Tendridge. And we advocated for overall issues affecting our business environment, such as affordable housing, workforce development, relief from business rent taxation, and support of arts and cultural organizations, because we believe that's an economic driver. We're also in support of some of the Palm Beach County School District priorities, one of which is fully funding a full-day voluntary pre-K program. That's expensive, but we feel like it's a workforce issue because we want to get parents back to the workforce. And of course, we advocated for the city's appropriations requests, one of which you heard about, I think, last couple weeks ago, the Swinton and Atlantic Avenue intersection is one, and expansion of the real-time crime unit. So those are a couple of the appropriations requests, but there are two things I wanted you to know about that's bubbling up in Tallahassee. One of which is a bill to terminate existing CRAs in July 2025, which is quite shocking. They would terminate them unless they have outstanding bonds that mature after this date, and it prohibits CRAs from initiating new projects or issuing new debt after October 1st, 2025, and it's coming up fast. That would drastically affect our community. It would drastically affect affordable housing. So Renee came up, she called me on Friday, she came up immediately on Monday to attend the meetings with me. So if you want more information, please contact Renee, because we really need to support them to try to get this bill shut down. Also, something that I think you'll find kind of interesting, and it's priority of the governor, is to phase out property taxes over the next 8 years, which is about $50 billion. And as you know, property taxes, affect the DDA, of course, as well as schools and law enforcement and utilities. So they're sponsoring a bill to study the impacts of doing this. And there will be a bill coming up to have a $100,000 exemption on all properties, not just homesteaded properties, and it'll be on the ballot, they think, in 2026. One thing that you also need to be aware of is they are looking for bloat in local governments. So it's like a Doge effect from the state that's going to trickle down here. So that's something that's concerning that I wanted you to be aware of. And if you talk to your representatives, just call me and I'll give you everything I know about it. So on a brighter note, the Delray Fair is coming up, and that's April 4th through 6th. And I wanted to thank, here you go. I want to thank all of you for your advocacy to include the 500 block, the Colony block. The merchants love it, we love it, the attendees love it. So thank you for your help with that, and we're looking forward to the Delray Fair. Thanks.
Awesome, thank you. Just to that note about the CRA that Stephanie brought up, I did email you all prior to this because I did receive an email from Renee concerning this, as well as a call last week before she headed up to Tallahassee. So there is a proposed letter from the Florida League of Cities that she attached to that email. So we can talk about that later in the agenda if possible.
First thing is, I don't think you're Quentin, and I don't think you're Laura.
Oh.
So we'll switch the name tags here.
Oh, he really wants to be.
So the
seeing if you're
question's for
paying attention.
Quentin.
Yes, sir.
Are we able to take a position as a board on those two items, meaning the property taxes going away? Because if we get $1 million, right, from this to fund the DDA, and certainly it would impact the CRA and so forth. So I don't know if we're able to add items and take action on them today, as of having the chair send a letter that we're opposed to these two changes. Is that something we're able to do?
Yes.
All right, so
Can I ask a question? Okay, and understanding that, yes, that does affect us, but are we as a collective then looking to put a note together? I'm not, at this point, I know what the issue is. I've read about it, but I'm not 100% researched well enough to know exactly the impact to the overall. It impacts the DDA. It impacts the CRA, but I also want to know what the impact is to the citizens. And that's where I need to have just a little bit more information before we make a decision on whether or not we are going to, as a collective, support or decline support.
how about since we're still in public comment,
Yeah.
if the board wants to amend the agenda to add that to an item, or if we want to add it under comments, what would you think,
Yeah.
Quentin?
I think maybe comments makes the most sense, but
Yes.
let's keep the public while we have them.
Thank you.
Okay, very good.
Good afternoon. My name is Claire Feldman. I live just a few blocks away at 100 West Coda. I'm president of the Coda Homeowners Association. We have 52 units, almost 100 people, plus we are broadly into the neighborhood, know our neighbors, and we're very interested in the agenda item on the Swinton Avenue, Atlantic Avenue and the Swinton Avenue traffic changes. We've been talking to the city. We understand the plan is not finalized yet. We're waiting for a traffic study to be shared with the public. So we're very interested in this agenda item and what the board will be discussing and what recommendation the board could have, given that the traffic study and the plan is not finalized. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Kira Boss is also with CODA, the townhouses. I had been to one of the commission meetings. We're imploring you guys to really be our partners in this. The traffic coming down Southwest 2nd and 1st will be a nightmare for both the children's garden, for the people that are walking their dogs. It is a residential area, and we're going to be getting restaurant trucks and all kinds of. I think their plan is a poor one. I think not only diverting, but eliminating the right turn lane at Swinton is a terrible mistake, because they're going to push back all of the traffic, and there'll be nothing but honking and get the policemen, because they're get ready. There's going to be some problems. So we're hoping that you're going to partner with us and be on our side with that. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Bruce Leash, 335 Southeast 6th Avenue. I'm president of the Meridian Delray Condo Association, and I'm here to provide input also to your agenda item on Atlantic and Swinton. Landscape architect, planner living in downtown Delray, And in my career as a principal at Carroll Johnson Associates in Boston, I was involved in a lot of designs of and implementation of streetscape and traffic calming. I attended the Atlantic Swinton Intersection Project's first public meeting in the fall, and along with many neighbors who attended the meeting, have several concerns about the proposed alternative. Eliminating the right-hand turn lane from Atlantic south on Swinton concentrates unwelcome development through residential neighborhoods. It seems preferable to provide drivers more options to bypass Atlantic Avenue rather than concentrating the traffic onto Southeast 1st and 2nd Avenues. Drivers who misunderstand that the turn onto Swinton has been eliminated will be forced to continue on Atlantic Avenue, making Atlantic Avenue traffic worse, possibly causing backups all the way past Southeast 1st Avenue. And I have concerns about the design and what it does to Sunday Village project. The design creates a large, undefined, unattractive area of paving along the Sunday Village project frontage and at the corner of Atlantic Avenue that would have significant impacts on the Sunday Village existing site geometry and landscaping. It radically changes the relationship and orientation between the Sunday Village main ceremonial diagonal entry and the intersection's pedestrian arrival point. They carefully laid out the building so that the main entry goes right to the corner. And with adding this additional geometry and how it relates to the streetscape, I don't think FDOT thought about that at all. The geometry just looks and feels uncomfortable as well. The design does not take into account the existing site conditions, such as the concrete retaining wall along Atlantic Avenue that's already been built, and the planting that was necessary to conceal the wall, which has already been installed. And there's already and the fact that there's already a public sidewalk incorporated into the project along Atlantic Avenue. In summary, the goal of making the intersection more pedestrian friendly is a good one, but there are other ways of providing safe pedestrian crossings of Atlantic and Swinton, such as additional refuge medians, without changing the traffic pattern, impacting residential neighborhoods, and disrupting a carefully designed Sunday Village site plan. The FDOT plan demonstrates a lack of awareness of the as-built design and conditions of Sunday Village, and if implemented would need to be carefully designed and coordinated with and by the Sunday Village team to try to reestablish the intended geometry for the main entry and incorporate the existing streetscape planting. Thank you.
Thanks, Bruce.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, just for the record, we have a written copy of that statement, and it's being made a part of the record.
Okay, thank you.
I also wanted to just make sure I'll clarify something on the CRA bill before we get to the further discussion in case anybody drops off. The bill, which is in the Senate, is 1242. It mandates that all CRAs in existence as of July 1 must expire by their expiration date or 2045. So they're not expiring in 2025 if they're existing. Just want to make sure that's clear. So it's the earlier of their natural expiration date according to their charter, or 2045, September 30th.
What do we know what the CRA current expiration date is?
It's
I was at a meeting when they actually voted 2 years ago to extend it out from the date, the original date. I want to say
it's past 45.
Yes, I think it's like way past.
All right, so then it goes till 2045, and then that'll be
We
okay.
do need to clarify that with them.
Yeah, I can text. I'll text
Yeah, just make
Renee.
sure they know, because if they're
No, they know.
Okay.
Oh, no, no, Renee.
All right.
Renee knows.
I have some more comments later when we get to that discussion, but I just want to make sure in case somebody drops
Thank
off,
you.
they're not thinking it's going away.
I have a question, Quentin. Is it appropriate, since we've had an abundance of folks that are concerned about what we are discussing at 4F, which is at the bottom of the agenda, to move that up to 4A in order for them to be, their information to be heard so that they can move along and not go through our entire meeting to get to what it is that they want to hear us discuss? So that we put it at old business 4A instead of 4F?
You
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Can we do that?
Yep.
Okay, motion
Do we-
to move it forward.
Second.
Can I get a vote from everyone?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Good job, Vera. Thanks. That's great.
I try. Sometimes on Mondays it's a
Thank
rough
you.
struggle, but yes.
All right, we're still on public comments. Do you want to give a public comment? Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Fred.
Hi. Greetings. So you were there at the presentation that I gave.
Fred, just introduce yourself for the group.
Okay.
Just say your name and.
Okay. My name is Fred Kent.
Great.
I work all around the world on how you create a sense of place in communities. We run something called the Social Life Project. It's in Brooklyn and here are the two places. We have a home here. I have to talk up here.
Yeah.
I'm talking to them.
Yeah, that's fine. You can talk to them. That's
Okay,
fine.
hi.
I just want you to.
So I've worked for the
record.
last 50 years on cities everywhere in the world. I mean, I cannot tell you, maybe 3,000. We have a program on we call Placemaking X, which is a global network of communities around the world that are making through mostly local people. It's mostly locally driven. It isn't professionally driven. And the reason it's not professionally driven, professionals get into boxes. They get into their silos. The best improvisation of anywhere has always been about programming and about community engagement, ownership, and how they see a place that they may own. And what happens then is it gets exciting because they keep seeing some way to improve it. And then next door, someone else watches them and they do what we call a reciprocal gesture. So then they do something like a bench that's different than the bench there or different than the cafe or so you're building a whole creative energy. And Southeast 2nd is the best intersection we have ever seen globally. It is just awesome. And it's totally infested in a really good way with people coming to show off. It's just one of the great intersections. That is your gold standard. So your gold standard, when you go 2 blocks up to Swinton, no one goes there. And over time, what has happened is just deadly because the library, you don't go in the front door, you go in the back door. The courthouse, there is no entrance onto Swinton. And then the police station has another layer and another layer, and then you go across the street and you've got the whole, that's not me, I don't think.
It's your timer.
Oh, can I keep going?
To the board.
Can you finish your thought and then, just wrap it up.
So this is an extremely bad decision. And the reason it's a bad decision is that you really need to know how you want to stretch the downtown and the close-in neighborhoods to be part of the downtown rather than this abrupt shotgun approach where all these vehicles come in and it's just a disaster. And you cannot design that out. You have to push it out away from the area. Bring the city hall into the downtown. Bring the tennis center into the downtown. Bring the library into the downtown. It's not there now. No one thinks of it being downtown. So that has to change.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yep. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your expertise.
Thank you.
We did a post on Atlantic Avenue becoming the best Main Street.
Any other public comments, sir?
Yeah. So. And we have an introduction from the Public Art Advisory Board. Just wanted to enter public comments around the utility boxes. So I've invited Bob to come in to give an update on Jeff's behalf. Jeff Warris, unfortunately, is not able to attend today. So we have Bob to stand in and give a just quick presentation or just an update on the utility boxes from the organization.
So I am Bob Costello. I'm on the Public Advisory Arts Board, and one of our projects has been wrapping utility boxes. So we've gone through all the research. Some boxes owned by FPL, some by Palm Beach County Traffic, and there's various rules and regulations, but we've come up with a plan. I've got a whole presentation I'm making to the full commission next month, I believe. But basically, some of these boxes look terrible. The one at the tennis center looks awful. There's graffiti, rust. So we've come up with a plan. We found money in the budget, so there's actual money for that, actual real money. and we're going to present. Hopefully, the council commission will approve. So, I'm just here to. I was asked to come here. Do you have questions about them?
We're very excited about that. I think that's
it's gonna
something
be
a lot of
beautiful.
people on the board want to see happen.
I think I saw a memo maybe or an email or something a month ago or something like
Yeah.
that. What did they cost? Did they find out from the other cities what they're doing, what the cost
so
is?
the other
and so
cities,
forth?
like who does a really nice job is Boynton Beach, but not here to talk about them. So each box is different. There are some city boxes at Old School Square which just need city maintenance. There's one that's just rusted and I just need a paint job. I'm sure they could schedule that. That would be no cost speaking. The FPL boxes, FPL's got a rule that you identify the box and they have options for wraps. And they're very colorful, beautiful, tropical wraps. And you say, do that one, and they charge $3,000 a box. Palm Beach County, traffic boxes will allow things like call to artist and do something creative. Pompano Beach has done that, and they also do a very nice job, but not here to talk about them. But we could paint the boxes some color, we could have a call to artists, make it beautiful, or something. So just depending on how many boxes we do, I came up with an initial number of $14,000, which still leaves over $10,000 left in the Public Arts Trust. So there's plenty of money to do this, and it's just a matter of which boxes we're going to do. The ones we identified were the ones that are on our what I call our front porch, meaning downtown, the tennis center, and those. So we're ready to do it. We've provided, Jeff anyway, provided him all the names and contacts with the FPL and Palm Beach County. We're all ready to go. Somebody's got to, issue the purchase orders.
Can I ask a question, sir?
Yes.
How many are scheduled on your list? Since you said it costs $14,000, I don't have a calculator to do that out. What number of boxes are going to be scheduled up front? The second thing is, you said that there's, and just so you know, out of all these people, I am probably the couponer. Okay, so when I hear $3,000 to wrap a box, the first thing in my head, like you probably
Right.
didn't see the fire come out of my head, that we can have $3,000 spent or go and get some artist who can show us a rendering, we say we like it, and then that becomes their artwork and they're excited about it and it's less of a cost to us.
Okay, so there's various boxes. The $14,000 is just a number that, depending on what we pick. FPL boxes, FPL has a policy, and you go to them and say that one, and they do it, and it's their wrap, and you just got to pay them for it. Palm Beach County will allow call to artist, and I don't know what does that cost. You're going to pay some artist? Is he going to do it for free? So, and some of the city-owned boxes, maintenance could just schedule those. I'm sure they got a bucket of paint. So, I came up with some, and I've got a full presentation, but no time for that. I've picked the ones that people see the most, like on Atlantic Avenue, because they look pretty nasty. The tennis center is number one.
So you're talking about maybe 6 boxes.
Maybe 6, 5.
Maybe 6 boxes
Yeah.
up front. Call to artists is cheaper than the $3,000.
Right, but that's only for traffic boxes, which is controlled by the county.
Okay.
So
That's a more extensive conversation. I'm trying to avoid us paying $3,000 for something that we can get with an artist coming out to do the box. Or a
there's
few.
a couple of FPL boxes that are very prominent, so I'm kind of thinking we should do 1 or 2 of those.
Yes.
Others, yeah, whatever. And if this program looks good and everybody likes it, we can carry on next year if there's budget. This will be a good.
Do you know when it's being presented to City Commission? When will it be?
My understanding is I'm doing a presentation on April 8th.
Okay.
I think it's April 8th.
Prior to.
And I'll have a full presentation with lots of nice pictures. Okay.
Just one comment, Chair. Certainly want to see it targeting towards West Atlantic. I mean, we're always pushing up here, and I shouldn't even say that word because it really is Atlantic. West Atlantic is Atlantic and the Turnpike, or Atlantic and 441. So I think, and I'm trying to do it, I'm going to work on it, but just east of 95, we'll leave it at that. If we can target some of the entryway, that would be very helpful out there where we have a bunch of vacant land. Any parcels where there's vacant land doing nothing would be great to be able to spruce it up a little bit or have a little nicer feeling when you're looking at it.
There's one right in front of the Fairfield that would be fantastic.
Yeah, I think there's one box over there that's, yes.
Yeah, there's not a lot of utility boxes there,
Yeah.
or whatever it is.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Now, if it's an AT&T communications box, like at the police station, no. That's the answer I got. No, don't touch it.
Cole, did you want to say something?
No.
Oh, okay. Anyone else? Great. I think we'll look forward to the presentation, and then if you could send us a copy of it, just as well when you're going to run it
Get
through
it.
the city, that'd be great.
All right,
Awesome.
thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for your work. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sorting through it for us. All right.
that's it.
Any other public comment before we move on to the agenda?
Nope.
Nope. Seeing none. Moving on to new business. And
AA, I guess it would be.
no, we're on
Yeah,
new
3.
business still. Yeah. We're moving on to the introduction of Scott Montgomery, excuse me, to present the audit.
I did email that.
Oh, you did. Oh, okay. Okay.
Here's the financials. I'm not sure if you guys.
Is that what we reviewed in the packet we have already?
Yeah,
Yes,
I
it
believe
is.
so.
Yeah.
Then I don't want to kill another tree, so I'm going
It's
to
already-
pass my.
it's already
Pass
dead.
them all done. Keep it in my file. Pass it on.
Hold on. Let me see if I can. If I send you something, Suzanne, can you pull it up or no? Okay.
I like the hard.
It's a.
It
No,
was
it's,
an
it's a
email,
PDF.
a PDF of this report. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, while we're doing that.
Okay. Good afternoon, Board of Commissioners and Executive Director. I'm Scott Montgomery from CBiz, formerly Markham CPAs, and I'm here to present the audited financial statements for the fiscal year ended September 30th, 24. And we issued these statements in February 19th, and we had transmitted those to the board for your review. And just a couple highlights. This is on page 1, our auditor's opinion, and that tells what we audited. And in the first paragraph, the second paragraph's the most important, that the financial statements present fairly in all material respects. The financial position, which is equivalent to the balance sheet, and the changes in financial position, which is equivalent to the profit and loss statement for a commercial entity as of the fiscal year ended in all material respects. So this is a clean, referred to as a clean opinion or unqualified, and that's the highest opinion auditors can provide. So congratulations on that. And then in terms of the just going through briefly the some of the highlights of the financial statement. If you look at page 10, this is the statement of financial position. This is equivalent to your balance sheet as of September 30th, 2024. And you'll see cash is your largest item, $821,000, and that's about 88% of your overall assets. And this presentation, okay, yep, if you can go to page 10. And then just page down a little bit. That second part, the MD&A, is a summarized presentation of the yeah. Keep going. One more. Okay.
There you go.
I guess you probably can't see that unless you make it a little bigger, but this is your statement of net position, and They call it a net position because it starts with assets at the top, subtracts liabilities, and then at the bottom is your net position or your equity. So you had assets at the end of the year of $935,000, liabilities of $297,000, and your net position or equity is $661,000. And if you go to the next page, this is your statement of activities, which is equivalent to the profit loss. And this is on full accrual. It starts with expenses on the left. You had about about $3 million of expenses. And then in terms of your revenues, you had $1 million in terms of service revenues, and then 1.7 in terms of property taxes. And next page. Okay, this is on the fund level statement, which is the only difference is for government-wide or full accrual, you have a lease for office space, which for the full accrual that gets presented as a right-to-use asset and a corresponding lease liability. So, and that gets amortized as the lease goes over the term. Next page. Or next page. So this is your profit and loss statement. You can see property taxes 1.7 is your largest item. That's about 62% of the overall revenues. And then you have about 1.2 million in Old School Square campus service fees and other revenues, and that's about 38%. In terms of expenses, general government is $773,000. That went up about $150,000 due to increase in salaries and programs. And your biggest increase was in Old School Square campus. That went from about from $853,000 to about 1.3 million, and that increased due to summer festivals and a lot more concerts. That increase was about 404,000. And then if you go to the back of the document, the very back, this is on page 37. This is our independent auditor's report on other matters. And this talks about internal controls and compliance. And happy to report there were no internal control issues, either material weaknesses or significant deficiencies. And there were no instances of non-compliance. And then the very last page is the report on investment policies, and there were no issues on that. And then the other document we provided was the letter, which is our communication letter to the board. And nothing really to report there, but this kind of summarizes the key items that the accounting standards want us to provide to the board for their information. So just briefly, there was really no difficulties encountered in performing the audit. All adjustments that were noted during the audit were corrected and are reflected in these financials. There were no audit findings or issues, and that pretty much concludes my report. I'd like to thank Laura and her team, especially her accountant, Ricky, because he was very helpful in providing information and turning our request around. And And subject to your questions, that's all I had.
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So any questions for our,
Yeah, I had a revenue question. So in reading here, I believe it said that the generating additional income from the taxes went up 19%. Is that correct? Did I read that correctly?
Yeah, approximately, and that's based on the
Property appraisers,
Property
right?
appraisers,
So
yeah.
property appraisers. So that means it went up 19% as well the downtown. It's, 'cause that's our area.
right,
most
which
of our
also
area.
includes new development or new construction, right?
Correct.
Right.
And so what I was wondering is, do we actually try to look forward, like you have Sunday Village coming up right now, which most likely will be completed by next January, I would think. It's probably sooner than that, right? Atlantic Crossing, probably a little more than next January, would be just my guess from looking what's over there, right now. I mean, I may be wrong, but assuming that, do we try to look at that looking forward to try to see what additional revenue streams we might have coming in? Because I'd love to get 19% increase. I mean, in anything for that matter, revenue anywhere. So I didn't know if that's something that we try to look at and work with the county and so forth to try to foresee that, because these are some big projects, and then maybe we could utilize that money a little better and so forth just by getting it out there. And it seemed like, to me, for some reason, I thought we had a fair amount of cash still left over. And I keep thinking that we're supposed to spend everything that comes in on an annual basis. Is that accurate? Not accurate? I mean,
Well, there is a need for us to have just a contingency, because there is, based on, I think it's about a 23% of revenue for that to be in a contingency, just in case, because we don't, versus
another
zeroing out every
COVID
year.
or something like that,
Right,
or whatever.
right.
Or
Or
property
hurricane.
taxes going away.
Yes.
Right. Well,
Yeah, there you go.
if they go away, that's a whole different ballgame, right?
Well, and
So-
also just we done for hurricane too. So that's something, we do have liabilities there that we would need to have if there's any need for, or recession, so just those are things that we need to take into consideration always when we're looking at the budget. So, but where we also see our overage with our sponsorships and some of those other, making sure that we're accounting and aligning those appropriately to invest into those programs that we have. So we'll, and then probably doing a stronger alignment budget-wise. So part of the addition, so this audit does take into account with all cash flows. So having our, from year to year, where we are with our reserves, that means that now we're at, that's that total of the 600. So as we roll over, but I'll let Scott answer that question too.
like in terms of the taxes, your property taxes are about 62% of your overall revenues, but those are also based on the value of the properties within the district or that designated area. So that should increase, but I know the county also provides to the municipalities a projection of where they
Right, I think it's a
everything-
little unique though, because not everybody has a downtown Delray where, a lot of big projects are coming online and so forth, so that's all. I was just trying
we
to.
could put a planning together. That'll be part of our planning
Right.
sessions too, so we can get those numbers and get some plans. So as we look at multi-years out, what we want to do, if it's some projects we want to put online to make sure that we have.
I mean, is
start
19% an average? Have we seen that
We've
kind of
not-
increase year after year, or is that just extraordinary for a
That
couple
seems
of
on
years?
the
extraordinary.
higher end, but it's,
No, we've got 8, 11, 16.
Gotcha.
So
I just want to remind you that the DDA's ad valorem cap is at its cap right now. So
1
there,
mil, you mean, the
yeah,
1 mil.
there's no more. If there's a rainy day and we don't have any money in the budget, you can't raise any more money through taxes.
through the taxes.
yeah, the millage rate
You mean
is
that it's
1%.
capped at the 1 mil, is that what you're
Right.
saying? Right, but as long as that increase keeps happening in property valuations,
Yes.
like we just went up 19% from year to year, right?
But yes,
But is that just because there was so much turnover in properties? Because now, like, everyone's got the 10% cap on their assessed value, right? So for it to go 19% again would be very
It's a
unlikely.
valuation.
Yeah.
Was that on commercial properties?
It's a 10% cap on commercial properties, I believe. So I'm wondering if the reason it was 90% is because there was so much turnover in the last year. So everyone got reassessed.
And by sales, is that what you're
Yeah.
alluding to? Okay.
I'd also like to say, although we can sit here and be excited about the 19%, I can't imagine that if we are seeing that rise once again next year, that the commission isn't also going to come back and chip away at what they're giving. So there's going to be a balancing act between where that revenue is coming from. That we may see that 19% bump because these new projects are coming online, but the city itself is saying, well, if they're seeing this bump and this 19% again, can we chip away more? Because the ultimate goal is for them not to fund the Downtown Development Authority. It's for the revenue to take hold and be utilized in a way that benefits all of the residents as well as the organization. So 19% is great to shoot for, we hope, but I think on the back end of there may be some reduction on the other end. So we just need to maintain and take the projections and then have discussions and determine whether or not that's something that we see going forward.
Just to clarify your comment that we levy an additional 1 mil, and that's a separate, we don't, not the funding comes from the property taxes.
That's what I'm saying. So that money that you're getting,
right.
if the property value goes up and you see a bloated amount that comes in to the coffers, the city is also helping to support Old School Square.
Oh, okay.
So they would then come in and say, okay, well, if they're getting this amount of money because they're seeing this increase again, they don't need as much of our money for the running of Old School Square. That's just me being.
Okay. I just want to clarify.
I told you I'm the couponer, so
okay.
That's kind of where I am with the thought process, is that we can't get excited just because we see that and think that everything else is gonna be maintained. I don't think it will.
In theory, they should be unrelated, but right?
Yes,
but,
in theory.
Yeah. Okay.
There is a disclosure on the Old School Square, the interlocal agreement, but DDA, the initial year was $1,025,000, and then this year the service fee for fiscal year 24 is $1 million, and then next year it's $800,000, and this is what the city is paying. But I know there's also another component of other revenues and kind of a cost sharing. Yeah.
The sponsorships, they're doing amazing.
So is there, I think we're to the point, if someone wants to make a motion?
Yes, motion to approve.
Second.
Great.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's unanimous.
Yes.
Approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Scott.
Move into 3B. Actually, before we move to 3B, I don't know, I saw Ms. Pryor with code enforcement come in. We did have like a partners discussion earlier. You're welcome to just sit in the back. If there's anything you want to update us, I know we're always following code enforcement, what's going on. You have any updates, or are you just here to watch? Okay, perfect. Moving on to parking. I put this on the agenda, asked that it goes on the agenda. You know, it was something that came up in our restaurant meeting. It's a priority of this board, is parking in our downtown, and to look at it and ideally try to be like a leader with what's going on in parking and working with the city. So I see JoJo's in the back there as well. Thanks for coming, JoJo. I don't know if we just want to start. You know, I could talk about some of my ideas and thoughts, but I mean, I guess the best thing would be just get a quick update from JoJo on kind of where things are with the new equipment. I know there's been some posts on Facebook where, oh, it's not working, or it's being tested, or where things are. So I'd rather kind of, let's hear it from the source where we are, and then maybe have a little discussion on kind of where we think we should be.
Good afternoon, Joe Josman, Chief Parking Facility Administrator for the City of Delray Beach. Just to give you an update with the new parking sensors, we are checking them daily for their accuracies. The issue that some residents have been running into is just that, I guess, it's not, depending on their service, is not catching on a little bit quicker. Letting them know if a space is open, but spaces, it is working perfectly fine now. If you guys pull up your app, look at a space on street, it shows you the vacant locations. If you pop it up again, it'll give you the open spaces. Sometimes we do have a little bit of technical issues, and when we try to fix it rapidly. If you guys see any issues, sorry for that, email me, as fast as you can. If it's showing like a location that has no spaces open, shoot me an email. I can get down with the vendor and see what the issue is. The garage, sometimes some people be having a lot of issues saying the garage is not working with the signage. Please be mindful when we have power outage in that garage, it can mess the sensors up, mess up the counts. So right now we do have the vendor out there working on it, getting the counts calibrated. We've been having a lot of events at the DDA, so we've been getting those calls. So we are working on it and getting those numbers perfect for you guys. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. If you need any data or anything like that, again, please let me know, and I'd be happy to email it to you.
And then, yeah, the one thing, I want to maybe even talk about making it on the monthly agenda item is just having updates on the parking, like a monthly update on the utilization, what times they're busy, when they're not busy, how full they all are. I think it's just good for this board, whether I'm on it or not, just to be following parking. And now that we have this information, again, thanks. So that's something maybe we could talk about if we want to add it, to the.
Mr. Chair, I have a question for you, Joe. You mentioned that if there's a power outage, whether I don't know if there's a surge protector that can be put on it or something like that, or is there, I don't know what kind of power it's using. Is it using like LED type power?
No,
or
it's just
using
regular to our outlet power to the building.
So I'm wondering if there's any kind of backup battery system or anything like that might help with that surging.
And that's what
forth?
That's what we're actually working on.
Okay.
Because our vendor for park assist, for example, the Old School Square Garage, he's actually working on that, getting those spaces calibrated. So when that issue do happen, we can switch over. So we are working on that and exploring new options.
Question. So I learned this from my former students. Everything has a cheat code. Everything. Okay. So are we finding and identifying areas where there is an abundance of parking that we can somewhat direct people to, where there's obviously hot spots? I think locals kind of know, but not necessarily all of our visitors know, because when we put out the roundup for the week of where the events are happening, maybe that's somewhere where we can say, looking for parking, and kind of guide them in that direction so that there's less of a bottleneck in the places that happen to be hot.
Yeah, we can actually work with our marketing and just sending out blasts during their events. They actually been doing it, trying to get people on the app and just getting people to use the app a little bit more, because we're trying to direct people to Fettisville Garage, because that's sometimes when like the DDA does have a lot of events, it brings a lot of people there. It's good for us, but at the same time, we want to direct more people to Fettisville. And sometimes I pick some. We do have 90 spaces there. A lot of residents are not familiar with, so we need to start utilizing that.
That's also something, we can figure out as we're having these discussions on the monthly, how that when you're notifying all the people through the app, the DDA gets notified, and then the DDA can do its own push through our things. That's maybe something for next month we can work to get that going, and that'd be really cool. When people are getting like updates on where there's parking in Delray, it's kind of cool.
Second thing, I signed up for text announcements from Boca. They send me when Federal is shut down, when there's work on A1A, to actually ease the traffic flow through their city. Is there anything that
I can look into that. That's a great idea.
Oh, I get it all the time. I know exactly what streets are shut down and everything. You get it too? Yes, so that you can avoid them at all costs. Because I do a lot of things over in Boca as well. So it's very helpful when they're getting ready to work on something, or if there was an accident on one of the roads. So
I'll explore that with Missy and Mike Corrali to see what we could do to get that done. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Thank you.
Cool.
One other comment I had, and that was with regards to the lot off of 4th. I think that was brought up at the meeting and discussed a couple of times, multiple times, about exactly the railroad lot and employee lot, whatever you want to call it. So.
That's what it is.
Employee lot, yes, not customer.
The North and South Railroad lot, yeah.
And so are they looking into that now to try to figure out what to do, short term, long term?
Right now, Missy has directed us to get more data. And the reason for that is because we're waiting for commission to choose what they want to do.
So this is kind of what brought this discussion. Why you opened it up? You opened it up. So, is there a plan to put the devices in the North and South Railroad?
Yes, we are actually going to be putting sensors there so we can get an actual number of how many cars are being there.
And how long they sit there.
Exactly. So we're working on that.
We are working on that. And that's great. At the same time we're working on that, we have had these meters in for probably a year. So I remember it was election season and it kind of came up, meters, and then it got kind of tabled. I really do want to discuss meters because I've looked through, and again, we can all have more of a discussion on it, but in general, what's really great about meters is they can be very dynamic. And maybe our city and JoJo working with Park One, it hasn't been super dynamic yet, where they can be free during certain times or less in the summers or special holiday or all these things, or employee license plates for certain places. So say we want to bring these 2 lots that have close to 300 parking spaces in the center of our downtown as inventory for our customers, because again, I walk it in the morning, they fill up. In the evening it's done. You can't ever find any parking, and it's not really doing a service. And Big Al's not here, and I know he's going to want to say a lot on parking, so we'll bring this up again. I'm sure he'll want to be in it, but he's a proponent of parking. And it was also really interesting at our restaurant meeting, the Pinball Museum, who's a tenant that is surrounded by parking, brought up metering that lot themselves, which, your mind explodes because you're like, why is the person who's surrounded by 150 parking spaces saying they want metered parking? Because they fill up and then they're not available for their customers, or if they have an event or they want to do something, it's parking that should be available. And then again, my thought is you make the parking garages free all the time, 24/7. It's very simple, not during certain hours, certain days. And again, if there's certain businesses, we can work on this that need some employee parking. We can do some license plate possibly for some specific lots where, they know. And again, I think it would be, I'm just throwing out a bunch of stuff right now because I want to move through this. I think the employers can provide a monthly update on who, out of their 3 spots they're allocated, who's on it. And if they don't provide the update, all the plates go away until they provide it, because employees are always shifting around, and, someone comes on new in the middle of the month. It's like, hey, you got to be here for 2 weeks before you get a parking spot. It's like, and then it's on that employer or the manager to manage it. And I think it's really hard to have, this is what all these studies we've done going back 20 years on parking is, you need to have a parking management plan. But when you take a look at our parking in the city, and the center of our city is just free parking, and then it's broken up in different ways, it's not working. And we've got these programs where if you're a resident of the city of Delray, you pay $12 for the year. I don't know what could be a better parking deal, If you're an employee at a store, you could pay $12 for a year if you live in Delray and you rent here, and park in any of the side streets, that are closer to the stores. So, and the reason that's not really working is because we have all these free lots and there's a parking problem, but it's more of a parking management problem. So those are my thoughts. I'd love to see, we'll do it with Al too, or we could talk about it now, but I'd love to see some sort of motion brought forward on parking to bring up, to discuss with Missy, with JoJo, because when I was talking with JoJo, I don't know if everyone knows, his parking responsibilities are like the straight downtown area. But when you go to like down Pineapple Grove and Artist Alley, like all those spots, which are again more parking inventory, that's a little bit out of his purview and would fall under, this like more Missy in the city. Is that right? How that works?
Missy and Anthea.
Yeah.
And maybe baby step would be like, I'm at 85 Southeast 4th Avenue where my office is. It's George Brewer's building there. And in the front on the main street, he's got parking in the back, right? But, there's 10 parking spots, whatever the heck it is, so forth. And there's almost always a spot there. But I park out on the street because it's free till noon, right? So maybe that baby step first is to go ahead and start at noon. Maybe just say it's free till noon in that lot, and then from noon forward, because it would push some of the people out of there from that standpoint.
And I want to be clear too with parking. It's not about we need to create a bunch of revenue and all this stuff. It's about changing the consumer behaviors. And we have some of the most affordable parking in the county in Delray, and we really do, in South Florida. Mm-hmm. And if we can help manage our inventory a little better, I really think like it's going to help everyone thrive, all of our businesses, all of our citizens, and our employees and vendors,
Mm-hmm. What's up, Joe? Hey, Joe.
How you doing, Aaron?
Question for you. Is it fair to say that every parking board management survey we've conducted in the last 20 years says we have plenty of parking, we just manage it incorrectly?
According to the curbside management plan, yes.
Right. So how many times this year, it's been a pretty successful year with weather and everything, how many times have you seen the parking garage full at Old School Square?
Right now, because of the DDA and the events, we have been full. I want to say almost every weekend.
Every weekend.
Is me and Laura have been coordinating a lot. So right now, because of the DDA has been tasked to take over the Crest Theater and everything, they've been bringing in a lot more customers, a lot more visitors to Old School Square and Delray.
And they're told to park there.
Yeah, because it's more convenient for them. Yeah, it's more convenient for them. And at the same time, the minute they come in, it's all that's when we start directing people somewhere else. So because of the DDA have that location, we have been getting a little bit more uptake in Old School Square garages, so utilization.
And you have reports that we can share with you all of that data. And it's
email,
daytime too.
Yeah, I can email that to you guys at
I think that's again something I think if everyone's for it, we can just add it to the agenda and every month have a parking report. I think that's something we should see. That'd be awesome.
For you guys.
Again, it's just we all have to work together, kind of communicate, and then we also have to, as a board, any direction as a board we see that we hear from all of our constituents, they kind of want to see. I think it's working with the city and bringing it up to the dais. Is kind of how we should do it.
For example, I think Friday or Saturday night they were full all the way up to the top
Friday
floor.
And Saturday.
Friday and Saturday night. They were full up to the top floor.
But that's our huge Beatles push.
Even during the day, all day during for Green
again,
Market and everything. The Green Market fills up that space all the time. So, it's also half full. We see there just with employees during the day and coming in there. It is a huge push for. We've been pushing constantly as we reassert. All the garages are where we want to have our employees park. So I would say a majority of the garage, especially during the day and early afternoon, does get filled with downtown employees.
So with that, Pinball Museum complains about the parking behind them because it only goes to employees. Everybody knows employees fill up that lot. It's roughly 192 spaces, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so
pinball
roughly.
is roughly.
Yeah.
So from basically 3:30, and Missy knows this, so I don't know why we got to keep doing more surveys, but she's probably being tasked for it. But if you go there at 3 o'clock, you can watch employees park there and take off to go to work, right?
You can see some employees.
You can see a whole bunch of employees.
Yeah,
I know you got to be professional, say that. But you see employees fill it up, and then, which is a primary spot for everybody to come down, make that left, and get a nice parking spot, get more turnover. That's what the Pinball Museum guy was saying. Rob has been saying for years, I want you to meter it, but don't make it a free lot, but meter it so I can get some turnover. And now the garage is filling up because we're telling people to park there, right?
We're advertising it because
we
since the app been going on, we have been advertising the spaces a lot more, and the DDA is also advertising it too. So a lot more residents it's just getting residents changing behavior.
Yeah, but the reasoning for pushing the garage is because we can't implement an employee program because they said when I was on the parking board for 6 years, whatever, if we made the employees park in the garage, that they would quit their job and they wouldn't go to work.
Oh, I was in this before.
It's pretty sad. So one of the biggest parking spots we have in Delray that can accommodate 190-some people, even if you started at 4 o'clock before the prime time starts. If you let it be free, this is just an example, if you let it be free from 8 in the morning until 4 o'clock in the afternoon and start charging for when the people come in to spend money in Delray, like the restaurants and walk around, they said that we don't have enough. They said that we're not going to. They won't allow people. The employees that want to have the owners that want the employees parking there because they would not work for them anymore. So we said we'll just put them in the garage for free because we don't utilize the garage. But since now we're forcing people to go to the garage, now that takes the employee lot back out of the loop. It was all set up pretty strategically if you think about it, because we were never using the garage. So we said put the employees in the garage for free, and then we said, well, how do we know who's an employee? And I said, who cares? Because nobody's using the garage anyway, right?
Well, Missy did do the pilot program for employees. We didn't get that.
We never started it. We never
started it, but it never really picked up.
We never got that much.
We didn't have enough people go and say.
Never
nobody signed up for it because the employers didn't. I don't want to manage it. My employees walk half a mile to work, but I don't want to update Joe every week when I lose somebody or gain somebody. But all we've done is make excuses for this whole time when we should have been taking care of the stores and restaurants that it directly affects, as opposed to a couple people that get upset about it. You know what I mean?
So I guess again, you know, JoJo isn't the one, or Missy, to necessarily go, or whoever, you know, to tell the commission, you know, hey, we really think we should follow the parking management plan. I mean, that's kind of what everyone said, and we've been doing it in piecemeal. Again, I think it's long enough to bring it back up and say, hey, like, let's really try to manage this parking and make a system that works. You know, we've got all these good programs in place that people could take advantage of. And again, maybe the DDA, I'm just trying to think all these ways we can help with parking. Like during our events, during the Beatles by the Fest, we've got to sign up for the Delray Beach app, see where parking is open downtown. I mean, if you have a poster set up for that, I think we can get a lot of people to sign up for this app and understand where the parking is downtown. So is that something we can look at doing, possibly, Laura?
Yeah.
Something like that.
We have parking information up there all the time.
But just like a board that people scan. I don't know, or at the green market. I just want to hit when we're not in charge of the green market, but when we're doing things, I'd love to have the ability to let people know, hey, this is how you can track parking, because that's what we're supposed to be helping do.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Thanks, Joe.
So is everyone interested in having a parking update?
I think you got consensus.
All right, good.
Somebody the same thing every week.
Well, no, we will, because see the numbers and stuff.
Yeah.
So anyways, and then we'll
No, we will. I
pick
mean-
up the discussion when Al's here, because I want the whole board
Right.
here.
And we can get that. Just the Parking Management Advisory Board hasn't met one time. They've met recently, but hasn't met consistently. So I haven't been getting those numbers. So we'll just plan to get those.
Yeah. And then there's talking about Parking Advisory Board that isn't meeting all the time. Again, you know, I want to talk about parking all the time. I don't know if there's a way, and this could be bold, but, you know, maybe the DDA could assume some of the Parking Advisory Board. It's an advisory board, so it's like they study parking and they make recommendations to the city. I think we're studying parking. We're going to be making recommendations. Maybe it makes sense to bring that into the DDA board. I don't know how we do that. I don't know if it's worth exploring. Is there a way to do that, Quentin, our attorney?
Well, the city has created this board, I assume, this parking board. So they would have you can't divest the city commission of
But maybe
the
we
authority
could
they created.
make a recommendation if it makes sense that it comes into our board. It doesn't have to, but maybe there's a way to do that.
I mean,
Don't you still go to those? Don't you go to those?
I do.
She's the new chair, I think.
Vice Chair.
Vice chair.
Well, there were 3 people at our meeting on
Right,
last
and they're having
week.
trouble getting a quorum. Like, it's not really happening. So again, maybe we just say that's something. I mean, if
Maybe
the
we
board's
talk
interested
about that
in-
at our next month.
Okay,
On the
we'll put that
when
on
we
the
bring
board.
our
If our-
park,
if
when we
our-
have our parking conversation at our next meeting, we can maybe get more of an update on the Parking Management Advisory Board.
I think at least 3 members up here have sat on the Parking Management Advisory Board. I'm one of them, 4 of them. Sonny sat on it, right? You were on it before, so.
Yeah, we all like parking. All right, I think the parking discussion could come to an end for the moment, and we'll move on to old business and some presentations. And we're moving up to the Swinton Atlantic Avenue 4F, which moves to 4A intersection board recommendation. And Laura.
Yes. So on February 19th, the board met with Fred Kent as well as the Director of Public Works, Missy Barletto, as well as Renee Jadising, who gave the updates from, as you all were there. And you have your minutes in here from the meeting. What I wanted to do with today is really what's the consensus of the board and provide some type of recommendation from the outcomes from that meeting to the city as more because we didn't have a formal conclusion from the meeting, so I wanted to put it back onto this agenda to not necessarily rediscuss it, however, be able to, if you all want to and can, provide us with an opportunity to give a recommendation formally to the city.
Can I speak, Mr. Chairman? I'd like to reiterate my stance that I stated during that meeting, that I do not want to see the right-hand turn lane removed from Atlantic Avenue. Today was a perfect example of what happens when the left turn lane was closed. So my husband would stop. My husband was dropping me off. We didn't know we couldn't make the left because the cones were out. I'm looking at the clock and he's like, you got to get out and you got to run. Now, there's a whole backstory about why he thinks I need to run, but I get out of the car in the middle of traffic. I run through the cones to get across the street to the tennis center to walk here as fast as I could. When you remove the lanes from a main thoroughfare, you eliminate the ease of traffic flow. The traffic was backed all the way up to 4th as I'm getting out of the car playing chicken in the traffic to get here because the turn lane was taken out to ease the traffic that for folks that want to make a left going towards City Hall. So if you're taking out the right, I can't imagine that that's not going to be the same situation when you remove a turning lane from a major thoroughfare for people especially who want to bypass going downtown. That is the key. The bypass allows folks that know how to maneuver around the city without going straight through Atlantic to get out of the way to ease the traffic flow to prohibit that backup all the way to 4th. So they said they were going to study it, and the reason why I brought it forth was because when I saw the map, they were only going to provide additional pavement up to the first block in off of Atlantic. And as one of the women stated, and I wrote her name down, I think it was Feldman, that when you turn left, if you're only going to pave up to that first block, people are going to go beyond that first block. So now you have an infrastructure problem where you haven't prepared for it, and that's what I was saying during the meeting. There needs to be a budget analysis as well, because over time, there's a school over there, there's restaurants over there, there's people who live over there, families who live there that deserve to have their peace of mind on their street. When they bought their homes, they bought it with that situation in mind, that it wasn't going to be a major thoroughfare. But once you block up the major thoroughfare and then that becomes the offshoot of the major thoroughfare, now they're on a street that they didn't necessarily buy a home to live in. So we need to consider the residents as well, most importantly, and there's a school. The teacher in me is coming out. There's a school over there, and those kids play all day outside, and there's traffic flow over there as well, but it's going to be double. It's going to be double at minimum, because today was proof of that. If you could just go stand out there right now, you'll see the backup from removing one of the turning lanes. So the proof is in the pudding on that situation.
To add on to what Vera was saying, when we had that meeting, they said the incidents they had for 2016 to 2018 was like 176 people, or incidences, right? So now you want to get rid of the right-hand turn lane, put statues and building blocks so more people can sit there, right? So you're creating more of a problem by doing that, I would think. If you want more people hanging out there, that's going to make, I think you would see more incidences, right? Then you're going to have more incidents with people taking the back routes and speeding through. And like we said before in that meeting, if I've been making a right-hand turn there for 20 years, I'm making a right-hand turn. People are going to do that. And the incidences where there's no fatalities, it was just people jaywalking. So now you're going to have more people in that corner jaywalking even more, which is going to lead to more problems. So I think the overall idea is horrible.
Sonny, anything on Atlantic and Swinton? Sir?
I just think that from what I heard from Missy the other day is you could do minute changes, but from putting the right turn lane back in, I almost felt like that ship had already sailed.
Agreed.
I mean, so that's what, instead of us just sitting here talking about the whole time, let's find out if it's done and you can only put a little striping here or there or something to change it. I mean, it sounds like it's an act of God of changing it, unfortunately.
Where did this come up, the Missy things?
When it was presented,
I left early that
Yeah, I would say that the biggest challenge with this really is that it's a moving target. So they're planning it, and we want to be part of the planning, but then when they provide us something, it's almost already dated. Like when we first looked at the plans, they were like the first go-round, and they were missing a lot of things. And then when we got into the meeting, they had addressed a number of things, but then there were new things that we saw that we weren't aware of, and we didn't really have time to digest it all. And I don't know if it's, like when they start, well, we did this and we expanded this, it's a lot kind of moving. So getting to the point is the right turn lane, honestly, I'd love to see it stay too. I don't know if it's too far. Maybe we can find out. I'm not a traffic engineer, but I do that. I take that right all the time, and I think it relieves a lot of pressure. I know during the tennis thing, how backed up that whole area gets, and even without that relief on the right, it's bad. My two big concerns with this really are the neighborhood. We had a few people come and speak today. I was like, have you talked to all the neighbors? And again, we said we would reach out to all the neighbors. We have their addresses. We can send a letter, get, the survey, get their feedback on, what they want to do and try to crystallize that. Because those are members of our DDA. They pay tax dollars. They go to us. And that was an Adam Frankel thing when he was on the board. You don't look out for the residents, only businesses. So I'm looking at the residents here, and I have concerns, and then the other one is really like, and I understood because I did call afterward and I spoke to Missy, and I know that they said that they've looked at the PED project and they took into account the traffic impacts of that 2-block project coming in and new traffic flows and everything, but like that's going to change things a lot, and it's really hard, even if you're a great engineer, following the numbers, to really understand how that project's going to change our pedestrian and traffic flows. So I do want to see the area slow down. I do want to see it get beautified. I just don't know, how much input we have. It's an area I want to see get improved, but it's also an area I want to make sure we do it right when we do it. And there's so many huge improvements happening to this corner.
You're saying maybe it's a little premature to tackle this right now.
It is, but it's moving. It's moving.
No?
I honestly felt like it was a foregone conclusion while we were in the room. I have to agree with you, Jim. I sat there, and after I stood up and I directed on the board and did my whole teacher thing, and I said, this is going to be a backup, and it happened today. It was like I should have videoed it. But I felt like when I go out to look at the Sunday Village, they've already put in the planting for the sidewalk. It's already encroaching on the right turn lane. So I don't know if the cones are there to remove the median and move it over so that we can still have an option for the right turn lane. That's what I would ask to find out more information about. Is it that it's going to move so that you can create that lane, or is it already a foregone conclusion and we sat in that meeting?
No, that's not. So
Okay.
So what Sunday Village project is happening is for Sunday Village, which was approved before this plan. So what the plans that were presented at the workshop are in motion and in the works as through the city. The point of us bringing this forward to you all was that the city needs and wants the Downtown Development Authority's opinion and feedback. So while they're hearing your feedback, watching this, I think having a formal written letter to the city would be what I would like to recommend. And I'm happy to pull all of the information that all of the feedback that everyone has said based on the February 19th meeting, as well as today, consolidated into a memo that we can send to the city so it's on record what the Downtown Development Authority would like to provide to the city about this project.
Yeah.
Whether they take it or not,
Yeah.
I think
the
from
one
our
thing
perspective.
I do think that makes sense is
Right.
we get a letter and we can all maybe go through and just say a couple things concisely to you so that it's really easy for you to digest this. So let's just do it and run through. You want to say a couple?
Yep.
Keep it concise.
My input is to continue with the right-hand turn lane for safety reasons as well as ease of traffic on Atlantic Avenue.
Okay.
You're good, Sonny? You don't have to say anything you don't want.
No, I'm not feeling great today. Thank you. My only thoughts are that, we've been talking about the flow from west to east for 15 years, and at that point we had one-way streets, as you recall. And it seems to me that if anything coming west, we're just going to have to figure out a way to open up the flow down Swinton, down to 4th. And that's the only way we're going to do it. It's going to be clogged any other way, whether we would have, no turns or not. So, and then the same thing true from anything coming east. It's going to have to move down Federal and come up west from either the north or the south. And so. I don't know who does this and who's making these decisions, but clearly they should be working on this. And what are we hearing from them as to the plans for the flow?
Yeah, that's what the meeting was with Missy.
Did I miss last week?
Yeah, that was the one.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
It would be a lot to cover, but yeah, they did go over it all.
No, it's fascinating. The notes from the restaurant owners. really, it was very, very, very informative. It sounded like a great meeting. I'm sorry I missed it.
Guess my only comment is that we've had the downtown bypass on the north side for quite a while, right? It's probably been 20 years, maybe more, right? And even to an extent on the south side.
50 years, I think.
Yeah, but a long time. I'm not
I'm
only
counting, but
60.
yeah.
Come on,
Yeah,
Laura.
you know,
It's not 50
maybe longer.
years.
Could
Come
be.
on now.
Sorry, 55 to be exact.
Anyhow, that's been in place for quite some time. I think it's difficult to push it further out west right now. We don't even know what's going to get developed there and so forth. But I personally think it's a foregone conclusion that that's plans in process and so forth. It just sounded like that to me. That I heard there could be potentially minor changes, unfortunately. And sometimes they do construction and then they have to tear it back up after the fact and do it over again. So we may learn by mistake here.
Got you. Again, my comments would be, just concerns over that right turn lane. I understand the bypass. You want to put the bypass in. I think that makes sense. I think they just need to work with the residents. We can help with some of that, possibly be, help with the communication. And then my other big thing is just the current condition of that corner. I brought it up in our meeting, and I'm bringing it up again. It is so dangerous. When I'm coming east on Atlantic Avenue at night, thank God Sunday's putting on their lights on their building, but that corner on the south side of Atlantic to Swinton, I think it ends at the library and there's no sidewalk, and there's like 70 meters, 70 yards, 50, 70 yards of people walking along a fence with no lane in the street, getting to the crosswalk to cross to where like Jimmy's is and Tin Roof. But it is bad. I don't know if the city or we could pop some work to pop some lighting there just so it's lit. But I'm glad nothing's happened there yet. If nothing has happened, if something has happened, I'm not surprised. But anything we can do to save a life or a serious injury, like that's right in our downtown corridor. We're talking about the future of this area, and I'm just looking at it today, and I just want to make sure we do something to give it a little attention.
Okay.
I'm kind of in the same mindset of everyone else up here. I think the right turning lane is pretty crucial. I'd use it 3 times a day probably. I don't know if there's another alternative to making the timing for crosswalks longer of some sort. Like that seems like a minor fix that could do a lot of help. But again, same mindset as everyone up here, I think.
Yeah, they talked about the scramble too. If you didn't watch, they said they do this thing where it's a scramble where they stop all traffic and it's just like everyone go, clear it out, and then continue on.
Yeah.
So, there's different ways to help make sure that our pedestrians can get around and our bikers.
Awesome.
Aaron?
It's haunted.
Got it. So my thoughts on it is that I don't think it's fair for the residents. I don't think it's fair for the business owners to get rid of that right-hand turn lane. In our busiest times after COVID, when it was just Texas and Florida that were open, those streets worked just fine. So expanding, making Swinton wider and stuff like that, I think that makes no sense because then you're tearing into people's yards. I think it was a horrible idea. And when you look at the incidents that happened, it was self-induced incidents because they were jaywalking and not paying attention. So I think it's bad for the residents. It's going to mess up the streets around when they're doing all the little Uber Eats and truck drivers are going around. So horrible idea.
Yeah, Laura?
All right.
It's clear.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, board. Thank you
All right,
for bringing that up.
We'll jump on to the Pineapple Grove Care Art and Maintenance Project. I don't know if Maruska's here. I think she was busy today. Yeah, thank you, everyone. We're listening. We're here to help support.
So the Pineapple Grove Art and Care Maintenance, we have, so Maruska has had, actually, our see, it is haunted.
That's what I just thought of. That's the same thing I thought.
It got windy. The wind stopped, and then the power went
I
out.
was waiting for the train. I was getting ready to duck under my desk.
Yeah.
It's the ghost of the parking pass.
There is a storm coming through.
They're not
Whoa, there we
parking
go.
without me.
It's a nice transition.
He blew up on me one time.
Theatrical.
I'll have to share that story later.
Yeah.
Were you there when he cursed me out?
So just so you all know, I guess we'll get started.
All right, are we back up? Is our tech advisor?
You gotta ask
Maybe that was Miss Barletto. She's like, dude, you're out of here.
Yeah.
Do we have a tech?
Yeah. Hold on one second. Let me just see if we're still up.
We'll make sure that.
Okay.
Getting ready.
We'll speed along.
Yeah, like when the light goes on, Aaron was gone.
All right, so just I don't know if Big Al's watching, but you know you could beat him on the timing of the meeting. If you'd
I'm
like.
working on
So,
it.
you
I'm
know.
racing. I'm cooking.
Yeah, we're back up, guys. It's fine.
Awesome.
All right, we're
All
live.
good.
Thank
It
you,
doesn't
everyone,
look like
for holding
we-
on. We had a little
It doesn't
power
look like
outage.
we doesn't look like we stopped going live.
Well, that I'll look
Oh,
forward to
okay.
watching that one in the future.
Glad everybody was cool.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
So go on with the
Yes.
art update.
So we do in our report here, we will go through that first. I think just Maruska did provide an update. We're coming off a pretty hectic couple weeks, but a weekend with the Beatles on the Beach and the art exhibitions changing within the museum. All last week we were loading out one exhibition, bringing in another, and still in that process this week. So Mariska's been pretty tied up. But if you want, I think, do you have in there the Pineapple Grove?
we have all of
So
all
in the
that's
midst of that,
agenda.
Mariska did provide some updates regarding the where we are currently with the Pineapple Grove art. I did also get, and I didn't get a chance to follow up with you, Jim, just to try to understand maybe more about what you were talking about for the Pineapple Grove or for the mural.
Yes.
For the camera shop, if you had any leads on that. So the camera shop mural, if you all remember, that was supposed to be installed in the Delray camera shop area. That's part of this Pineapple Grove art that we're working on. That we determined that we didn't want to jeopardize the entire mural by putting it onto a wall that it didn't fit. So in the meantime, we've been trying to find a new location for that. If possible. So, and Jim had reached out and said he might have something, but we haven't had a chance to talk. So, if
I'll bring it up here. I don't care.
Okay.
Doesn't
All right.
matter
Good.
to me.
Excellent.
So, a client of mine bought the property at 74 Northeast 4th Avenue.
Oh, yeah.
Which is by the railroad lot there.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if the building's big enough or not, but that was one of the thought process. You would have a north-facing side
great.
of the building. And
That's
I didn't
better.
know whether it fits there or not, or even if that's a good location or not. There seems to be a fair amount of traffic there.
Mhm.
Hopefully, it can be customers, not only.
What kind of new business are we getting to the DDA? Let Laura know.
So they bought the building, right? That office
Correct.
building?
Yes, correct.
So the office building will stay
Office building's not going anywhere. It's staying
Okay.
there.
Okay. We can take a look at the space then on that, because north facing is actually better because that's what it was originally made for,
The
was
weather,
a
right,
north
sun.
facing wall. So the difference with the new location on the camera shop was south facing, in addition to
Having to cut it back and
cutting
so
it
forth,
cutting
yeah.
it off. So so great. So that would be great.
Hey,
And
this
I'd
is
also
one of many opportunities.
Right,
I'm
and I
sure
also
there's others.
don't know. I haven't addressed it, but I saw Christine. But the where F45, that building too has a pretty solid wall facing west. So that was an opportunity. I haven't had a chance to talk to the property owner there though, but it looked like it could work. So we'll look at that space and we'll try to bring that back. So.
Awesome.
Suzanne, did you want to go through the?
Yes. So I'll
Do you have
me
a
to go
slide
ahead?
in there? Go ahead.
What were you asking?
Did you have a slide for the Pineapple
Yes,
Grove
I
art?
do.
Okay.
I have a slide for all of the things that are mentioned underneath. So, okay.
So this is 4A and 4B.
For A and for B, yes.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Well, we're going to start with the DDA today. So we had Art and Jazz on the Avenue, as you all know, on February 26th. It was on West Atlantic Avenue. It was a really fun time. We had a bunch of people come out. The interesting thing is we had a lot of West and East Delray zip codes that showed up. So in our placer numbers, our placer AI data, which shows us visitor data, we had 2,500 people that came out for that night on West Atlantic Avenue. And it was more West Delray than last year. Right? Is that what the number was?
Yep.
Yeah, more West Delray than last year. So that's good.
The music was amazing.
Yeah, the music was really good. Music was really good. We had 30 vendors, so we did have a few more vendors this year, and the reason for that was because we partnered with the Peach Umbrella Network for vendors. So we had about 6 of the Peach Umbrella vendors come out. The Delray Beach Historical Society, 100 Years of School Spirit. This was like the place to be. I mean, if you guys came, it was packed all night. I was watching people come up and saying, that's my coach from when I was a kid. And so it was really cool to see people coming up and interacting with that exhibition that was part of the Delray Beach Historical Society tent. We also had an artist who was commissioned to paint a mural live of Vera Farrington, who, as you all know, is one of our founders in Delray Beach. She founded the Spady Museum, and this was the artist, and he did an amazing job. Yeah, and he finished up just towards the end of the night, so it turned out really great. Savor the Avenue is sold out as of now. Obviously, as we're getting closer to the event, that could change. We did have a couple of restaurants reach out and said they did have some open spots that came available because people are realizing that this is the same week as spring break, and so some people are not able to attend and they're canceling. So if you want a seat, all the public out there, you just have to keep checking in with the restaurants. Those are the participating restaurants. The great news is that we do have 3 major premium Savor the Avenue sponsors this year. Tequila brand, Champion Porsche, which is out of Pompano Beach. They're going to be bringing a couple cars in, and Rothman Health Solutions, which was our major sponsor last year as well. So we got 3 major sponsors this year, which is good news. As far as the Pineapple Grove Art Care and Maintenance Program, as you can see, the Hands, which is right near Pure Life, that is one of the pieces of art there that has been repaired. It was very rusty and didn't look too good, but now it has been repaired. And then you see Perched, which is down closer to past the Ray and where Papa's Tapas is. That has now been repainted, and you can see it looks alive again.
Makes a difference.
And additional pieces will be scheduled for repair and maintenance for the end of March. So the Pineapple Grove Art Care and Maintenance Program is moving along.
I just want to say thank you, team, for making that all happen.
That's Maruska.
Thank you, Maruska. Hello,
Maruska.
Thank you for making that all happen.
I wish Maruska could talk about it because she's probably got a lot more details.
I know it's easy sometimes on the board to say, this artwork looks bad. We got to fix the artwork. But then it's like, who's in charge of it? Who's going to be in charge of it? What's going on? Who gave it to us? Is the artist? It takes a lot of work. So, again, I know we're going over it, but I want to give some kudos.
Thank you. As far as public relations for last month, our team is still killing it. That's 1.6 billion online audience from our placements, which are well over 600 plus placements in public relations. Those are, that's earned media, so that's free other than what we pay for our public relations, but it's free to get these kind of numbers, which is amazing. Our website also doing really well. We're 50K active users last month, 103,000 views. Big event, the big things that people go to our website for: events, art and jazz, Savor the Avenue. I will mention that we are moving along very quickly with the new website design. Things are looking really, really great, and I'm super excited when I can start to show you guys some of the things that we're working on and when we're going to be launching that, which will be probably in May. Email blasts, our contact lists, we're almost up to 24,000 now in emails that we're sending out, 24,000 people. We sent out 180,000 emails last month with a 45% average open rate. So a lot of people are seeing our emails. It is a lot of our businesses want to be in our emails and be highlighted in our emails. So it's also a really good sponsorship opportunity for our businesses and to to be part of those emails. Our social media is growing. We're up to 145,000 followers across all of our platforms. Impressions and engagements are down significantly. This is an algorithm issue. We have seen it. Everyone has seen it. Things are changing dramatically on social media as far as getting engagement and getting impressions. And so we're kind of changing our strategy and how we're doing that and what we're posting and how we're posting it in order to make sure that we can still get people seeing our content.
Can I say something, Suzanne? Because this is something, I don't do social media, but I can access social media. Let's put it that way, because I don't want people to think I'm some person who is on there posting things and all that stuff. But I always live in the grays, as I say. I click on the comments to see what people are saying. So I'm going to do two things. Number one, we show some really good videos, but I've seen two that have been put forth that have dogs on the beach. And if it's our ordinance that we don't have dogs on the beach, there was one on one of those paddle boards, and it said downtown Delray.
That's the ocean.
Yeah, that's the ocean.
Yeah,
and,
but it's still in the water, so it went on the beach, is my point. So whether it was carried there or not. It walked there itself, and it got on the paddleboard.
We don't know if they came on the public beach. I mean, they might have come from their house or something. I don't know, but yes, okay.
So all I'm saying is, if we have an ordinance that says we are not allowing pets on the beach, I'm not certain that the DDA should be putting these out, because then people believe that they can have their dogs on the beach. That's number one.
Okay.
Number two, in the grays, a post went up. I can't remember which one it was, but I clicked on it and I was reading what people say about Delray. And I always heart something when you say it, so I'm reading. But there were two comments that people are starting to say that the Delray beach is not clean. So that's why I'm bringing this up. It kind of all ties together, is that if we don't want our reputation to turn on a dime, we need to make sure that we're promoting that, yes, it's a safe, clean environment, and we're following our own ordinances after it was put out in the paper that we are not allowing pets. And then we need to find out why people think it's not clean. And I know that that's not necessarily under our umbrella or purview, but it would be good for the city to know that that's the type of feedback we're getting from some of the posts that were put out.
Yeah, and we have a listening tool that we can go on and see what people are saying about Delray Beach. And in the past, it's been very positive, but I will, keep monitoring that and take a look at that and see if there's anything that we need to.
If I can add to Vera's comment, a lot of it is bad dog owners that let their dog go to the bathroom on the pavers and then just keep walking. And I see it all the time. I just don't get it.
Yes.
We're giving away doggy bags as a promo item, so.
Yeah, I love Delray
Stop
doggy bags.
by the Visitor Information Center.
Okay, I did want to mention that we have linked our email platform to our ticket platform, so we can see who's buying tickets. After clicking on a link, it actually follows them from the weekend roundup, so this is pretty exciting. We did notice that last month we had $1,000 in revenue just from our emails. So people are clicking on, say, the Twilight Tribute series, and then it follows them to the Ticket Socket platform, and it follows them to buying that ticket, and then it reports that revenue back to our email platform. So we can see specifically who's clicking on what's working, and so that's a good some analytics there. Paid advertising, I did want to bring this back up because we are running paid advertising constantly. The fall and winter campaign that we ran, which was highlighting not only, come to Delray Beach because it's snowing everywhere else, but also we did a campaign specifically around the holidays and telling people that this is the place to be around the holidays, because we do slow down a little bit in Delray around the holidays. We just wrapped up that campaign and it was very strong. I will get you final numbers on that, but this was just the February numbers of that fall and winter campaign. We only spent $465 in February, but we got almost 4,000 people clicking on downtowndelraybeach.com because of those ads. So that is a very successful campaign, but I'll bring back the entire campaign, the link, the campaign and numbers for next month. Art and Jazz did really well as well. We spent about $860 and got almost 5,000 people clicking on the link that takes them to the Art and Jazz page on our website, and same with First Friday Art Walk. Economic development, we have a lot of, we have this thing on our website on the homepage where it says all the new things happening in downtown. Gesto Pizzeria is now open. We have a couple of new med spas, Core Shake Studio, which we met the owner of that when we were on at Art and Jazz on West Atlantic Avenue. That's in one of those buildings, those newer buildings there on the north side of the street. And they were doing a class during Art and Jazz, and it was packed. So that was really good. And then a new salon and beauty spa. It's actually Tipsy was the name of that salon there on 4th, and it's now turned into Moxie. But we went to the Tox Ribbon Cutting, which is another business that opened a few months ago. Bourbon Steak opened, and that's in the Seagate Hotel, so that has officially opened now. And also meeting with restaurant owners and city staff that you all know. Many of you were there. I did give you very detailed notes that I took while in that meeting. Brian wants to make a couple of edits, but before we make it public. But I just wanted you guys to see kind of what was said during that restaurant meeting. Any questions about that?
Bourbon Steak did a really good job of rolling out on social media. That cutting of the steak, although it was like, it was a big fat juicy steak, and I thought,
well, they had just changed the cutting board and got a brand new cutting board and brought out a brand new Wagyu tomahawk steak in front of me and started cutting it immediately. And I was like, oh, this is the money shot.
This was it. That was it. Because I saw that thing at least 3 times.
And it was perfectly cooked. When I say the perfect medium rare, it was amazing. Yeah. So it's a good addition to and we, Michael Mina, who's the Michelin starred chef, the owner of those restaurants, was there. And I think it's going to be a good addition.
Yes.
It feels very New York.
Yeah,
feels very New York.
Real quick for the restaurant meeting, I'd say if you could, the folks that spoke, I would send them the meeting minutes just so to have them approve what it is you're saying. 'Cause I don't want to necessarily change what people said, but I saw a couple things.
We'll share that with the rest.
Share them with them and then maybe get their feedback directly. Just because it's our time to let them be heard, I want to make sure they're heard. Right?
Yeah. Shelley, do you want to come up and give your Visitor Information Center report?
Hi, how are y'all? Good afternoon. So as you can see, we had a huge increase. It was a beautiful February. We had 1,900 people come through the Visitor Center. Again, a lot of our Northeastern Canadians, but a huge turnout from the Midwest as well. So just so you know that. We had 66 phone calls and 58 bathroom requests. So people who came in looking for the bathroom around the corner but couldn't find it. We did host, you can go to the next one. We hosted Beatles on the Beach, getting ready to promote their festival. They came by and hung out outside the visitor center. Also, Delray Yacht Cruises hosted some volunteers so they could make sure they could talk about it firsthand and knew what was going on when they recommended the yacht cruise. So that was a great opportunity for them. We trained 4 new volunteers this month. We also have a brand new business spotlight. It is up in the visitor center where I've been talking with 3 different businesses, and I think Novacento is going to be our first to go in. They're very excited about it. We're going to have an area where we highlight somebody for either 2 to 4 weeks, and they'll be front and center there. And hopefully it'll be something that all the businesses and retail will then compete. They'll be wanting to be in there because it'll get them front and center. Or no. Like they want the space. They want the advertising. They want the. How much is that going to cost? We're doing it for free. So
we're to see how it goes, but it's a good way for us to also see how what the return is from that.
Yeah.
I think Vera wants to, like Preston Hen used to do with the swap chop, and auction off the spaces down in Fort Lauderdale.
Well, if it's beneficial, we might move into that.
Yeah. If it becomes so popular, it's an opportunity. Well, of course.
Your data I'm sorry. You can show the data of the foot traffic. I mean, I was out there the other day. I sat in the yellow chair for quite a bit. But they, the amount of people that come through there, that's a great advertisement opportunity.
Exactly.
Is that going to get translated into our email blasts at all, or is that just solely in the visitor center?
hopefully when we get the first person in, I'm hoping
The email
it'll be
blast
down
I'd
at
have
the
to pay
bottom.
for.
We can do-
Yeah.
No, that's totally
Yeah.
fair.
Sorry.
Yeah. I just want to be a little sensitive about charging our partners too much to promote themselves with us. New businesses coming in, it's something we want to do. Those are the ones I'd rather help out and
Right.
have our long time. We're making a lot of money with you guys. Give us
Yeah.
money, because I'll tell you, starting a business is like very expensive for all these restaurants, especially in Delray. The other thing also, when people come to the visitor center and they say, "Hey, where do I know about parking? What's the current? What do we tell people
All
to
of
do?"
our volunteers have learned about the city app. So, and I've demonstrated every time I'm up there, I demonstrate it for people. Anytime anybody asks about parking. So I
Yeah.
pull it out and show, hey, here's all the
And maybe
open
there's a little
spaces.
sheet we can have with the QR code
Yeah,
that takes
no.
you to the city app, where literally someone's
Yeah.
like, "Hey, where do we know about
do.
parking? Here, just scan this and download the app," and then you don't have to get on their phone or do anything.
There is a postcard.
What?
We have
There
a
is
card.
one.
Oh, we got the QR
We have
code?
a card with a QR code. It takes you
Perfect. I
straight
would
to
love to. Again, I just want to push
We have
that.
them in our office as well.
Yeah, yeah.
You can come stop by and go.
Yeah, it's
I
awesome.
think they're
You know,
probably
I'm
out
all for
here.
the city app and parking. So, all right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's actually provided by the city. They have their own promo materials that are here in City Hall as well as in all of our locations.
Perfect. Yeah, just making sure.
Because I do open the email blast that goes out, and since we have such a great conversion rate for opening it, at the bottom there's usually a thing that says, "Here's where you can park," and blah blah blah. There's a little blurb, but I don't remember. Is the QR code there? So if I open it up, I can just scan it from my phone off my laptop. At when people are
Yeah, it's kind of you usually don't put a QR code on an email because people are on the device. So you can't scan the code usually.
But you can take a photo of it and then click on your Google search and put it.
Yeah, so we just put the link basically. Yes, which is the same thing. Yeah. Just put the link and you can click on the link. Yeah, you don't do a QR code. It's just one more. Yeah.
So listen, hashtag old lady.
Another new thing we're trying to work on getting up and running is the Volunteer Local. It's an online software that will help us organize our volunteers and create some ease with getting people in shifts and things for all of our various events. And it's also going to be used by the museum. The museum will use it to track not only their volunteers as well, but also the artists, and they can use a lot of the data for writing grants and things like that. They will have backup data. This will help support any grant writing they're going to do. Upcoming, we also have the volunteers have been asked to come tour Pop Stroke and check out that facility so they can know what's going on up there when they talk about that. So that'll be our month of March visit. So we have a lot going on at the Visitor Center.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Shelley.
I still
Thank
go
you.
back to you, Suze, because you know the old lady in me. Okay.
What's
I
that?
just- dog on the bone. I'm sorry. So clicking on the link in the, does it take you to the app? Because the QR code, if I scan that, does that take me to the app? Because the whole goal is to get
No,
them
you have to download the
Yes,
app.
that's what I'm trying to get to. That's why I
So
thought.
it takes you to the city's parking page, which
Okay.
has all of the information, including all the parking permits, because we're really pushing the parking permits. And yes,
Oh, but it doesn't go to the app?
That's what I'm trying to get to, because then it
Yeah.
becomes part of their phone. I'm trying to get them.
Yeah, we
hooked
want
in.
them to one click to the app ideally.
Yes.
Yeah.
we can certainly add that, and so it can do the permits, and we can send them to the app as well.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
Thank
the
you,
old
yeah.
lady came through. I see if I
Yeah.
hang on long enough.
I missed it. I didn't
people hear
realize
it and
that.
understand. I'm
Yeah,
telling
I
you.
just want them to download the app. I
Okay.
want to scan where they scan and then can
And
go
get
to
the app, yes.
Yeah, and then if they want to know about permit programs and all that, we can
That's
do
something
it.
else.
Yeah.
Yes.
We just gotta.
Thank you for entertaining me.
Yep. Okay. All right, now moving on to Old School Square. All right. The Old School Square rebrand is moving forward. We have launched the call to artists. That is your creative brief that you see in front of you that we put together, our graphic designer, as well as Maruska, as well as some artists and some art advocates who helped us put this together, come up with the criteria, the compensation, everything. So we have really dotted our I's and crossed our T's on this because we wanted this to be done correctly. So we have been through more revisions on this than I can remember on anything else. So hopefully everything is buttoned down for this. But it was launched late last week. We put out the creative brief that lays out the criteria, the color palette, compensation. We also gave them some examples, but we don't want to put artists obviously in a box. We want them to be able able to come up with ideas of what they think represents Old School Square, but also will be reproducible onto, T-shirts and signs and all that kind of stuff. So.
Now,
Yeah.
I went to the Boca Night Market on Thursday and talked to some artists to let them know about this. One of them had already known, so it was great because I was like, great, somebody already is aware. Am I eligible? Me, Vera, personally. Are any of us eligible to participate? I see the's money involved, so that's why I was asking.
I don't.
No.
You can donate your.
not?
If
I
you
don't
win, you
know.
can donate.
I don't know. We didn't.
We didn't anticipate it.
We didn't anticipate.
Yeah, I know. You didn't know you had artists on the DDA board. Yes, I didn't know. I was just sitting there going, and I'm asking also because are the city employees eligible, or is it just people that are outside? Because
the call to artist does not say who's not eligible, so I can't imagine that.
I guess
well,
I'm
if you're asking
confused about
Quentin,
this.
he's not going to let me do it anyway.
Excuse me. I think
Yeah.
I'm confused about this whole thing because I thought you wanted at the workshop that we had the other day when you turned in your design.
That was a sketch.
My only well, I know I'm not going to participate because stick figures is all I can do. But with the artwork having to be able to be reduced to like card size and things like that, that's a tough task, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a tough task.
I was like, wow. You guys, and that was one comment I had. And then the other one, the public voting period. How do you get a good amount of people voting on it? And the reason why I bring that up and ask that question is the city of Boca, and they don't do near what you guys do with the DDA, not even close, not even a fraction, number one. But they did this whole big thing, the town, the redevelopment of City Hall and everything else. They only had 18 people, and I think I did it 3 times on the survey. Yes, and so terrible. I was just. So hopefully we get a lot more than 18 looking at the
I
artist.
think
So we
with our
won Best
marketing-
Beach because of us. So let's go with
Right.
that.
Yeah. Let's go with it.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't think we'll have a problem getting people voting. Yeah.
But we will take that obviously with an associated plan to that for promoting. That's part of the plan that we have for call to artists, getting the communication out
We
to
already
the
have a press-
artist, as well
yeah, we already have a
as
press release.
getting that amount of time, making sure that we're getting out to the public to vote in multiple ways.
Does it
Yeah,
have
so-
to be watercolor? Because I remember we were talking
Yes.
about it like we wanted watercolor type, but we
Yes.
didn't want to box them in. But now it has to be a watercolor
Yes.
design, 100%.
Yep.
Okay. Because I didn't remember that.
That's part of the criteria.
Yeah.
Quentin has already looked at me with an eye and said, no, don't you even attempt. Don't even attempt, Vera, to submit anything. Just the face alone.
No. Like if you are really going to submit or you just thinking about it, we'd have to review to make sure there's no ethical concern
ethical,
with
right.
doing business with your own agency. Some of the things that our rep came in and discussed at the presentation, so we'd have to review those issues. But
I'm sorry. I'll leave my talents at home. I'll take them to South Beach.
Okay, LeBron.
We did already put out a press release on this. It's already been picked up in a couple of media outlets. So you know,
Well, I was just making
don't
sure
think-
it had to be watercolor because originally it wasn't, but now it is. But it's okay.
No, it's always been watercolor.
Okay.
Yeah,
I thought it was
it's
like
always been watercolor.
style.
We may
You said a watercolor style, but
turn it into line art, the watercolor design, but the first design that comes in needs to be a watercolor design. Yeah. Yeah. So for different uses, it may be, Okay, call to artists. So this is just to look at the timeline. The call to artists opened last week. Submission deadline is April 9th. Finalists will be announced a few days later. The public voting period is about 3 weeks. And then we'll announce the winner on the 12th, and that is when the winner will start creating those branded house logos, so additional designs for each of the venues. And then we'll unveil the entire branded house of logos in late summer when we do the rebrand launch.
Wait, so the winner creates the branded house, or the winning piece of art then goes to the...
So the winning piece of art will be the OSS overarching logo, and then they will create additional logos for each of the venues. So the Creative Arts School, Crest Theater, the Amphitheater, the Vintage Gym, the Cornell Art Museum will all have their own.
Someone else's type of approval, or like they have the end also?
With us.
Okay.
Yeah, with us. They'll work with us.
Or with
Yeah,
our
but it will be under that same vein, you know. Okay, visits to the campus for last month were about 23,000. That was about 1,000 over February of last year. And unfortunately, Maruska's not here, but I wish she was, because this was amazing. It was so good. The Icons of Art exhibition opening. We had a VIP preview event on the Thursday before, and then the opening on that Saturday. It was, they were both just really great events. Laura, do you want to talk about any of this? Or?
Sure. So I was just saying Quentin attended the event.
I know.
And
I
our
should have put a
picture
picture of
didn't
Quentin
make
in
the
there.
cut,
Sorry, Quentin.
So disappointed. We have to have a conversation after the meeting.
I made so. So Maruska has done a fabulous job with this exhibition, and the artist Guillermo and Victoria are so excited about the turnout, and we're selling art from the exhibition, as well as they have extended the length of time that the exhibition is going to be here. So he's doing artist talks on a weekly basis. He's doing personal tours, just really invested into this. And it is on the 3 rooms on the upper level, along with the multicultural art exhibition of the 230 students that's up there. So that exhibition is also getting a lot of coverage as well, being in that same realm at this time, because there are people actually coming to the museum with tour groups and others just to see this. So she's doing a great job.
Yeah.
That night, someone bought a piece. Of
14,000.
Yes, and I went and cried in the corner with her, because I was like, I'm so proud of you. Like, she has done an amazing job. Yeah. And one of the artists that she had featured here in a previous exhibit, I went to the Palm Beach Design House this weekend, which was phenomenal. If anybody had the chance to go, it was great, Kips Bay. And one of the pieces was featured in that house, and it was awesome. The monkey that was sitting at the table by the pool.
Reimagining Palm Beach.
Yes, Reimagining Palm Beach.
Yeah.
One of those prints was there,
Surge.
and it was in the room. It was fantastic.
Awesome.
So Maruska's on the cutting edge.
Yeah.
She's leading the pack, so that's why I wanted to say that.
Yeah,
She's
and this is
amazing.
the largest exhibition of this art, this mosaic art, in any museum. So we got the largest collection, and it's beautiful. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. I was talking to some woman at the public reception on Saturday night, and she was a snowbird. She hadn't been to the museum. It was her first time, and she was completely blown away. She was an art enthusiast from New York, and was just really impressed. The attendance for both events was about 650 people. We got about $200 in donations over that time, but art sales were $14,000. And we are working on the Cornell Art Museum's Icons of Art book, which is now in production. And this is the cover. The cover and the back cover will be Madonna, Marilyn Monroe, and the back will be Frida. And then, so it will be the Icons of Art book. They partner with each of the places that they display the art, and they do their own. And it's a beautiful coffee table book with all of the Italian mosaic faces. Upcoming exhibitions, Mirror Mirror, which is our all-female exhibition celebrating women in the arts for International Women's Month this month, and Reflections by Andres Lopez. He's a Cuban artist out of Miami. He has a huge following, so we're really excited for next week, March 14th. No, that's this week. This Friday. Don't forget, 6 to 9 will be the opening of those 2 exhibitions. So if you guys have a chance, please come by. And for the month of February, the attendance was well over 2,300. Donations, almost $5,000 in donations for the month of February. That's really a great number. And museum stores, $4,400. And then the art sales, the Cornell got $4,000. That was our cut as part of that art sale that was made at the exhibition. We're training new docents. As Laura mentioned, the multicultural youth arts exhibition with 230 artists, student artists. And then the Cornell Art Museum also had an art tent at the Art and Jazz on West Atlantic. As far as the Twilight Tribute concert this month, we had a really great turnout. The band was amazing. It's a band that we've had before. They were tributes to The Cure, Duran Duran, David Bowie. We sold 900 tickets, and between ticket sales and concession, we made about $14,000 in revenue that night. Email blast. Our email list is growing for Old School Square. We're up to 4,200 with a 51% open rate. We sent out 32,000 emails last month. Our social media is also growing. We're up to 7,200 across Facebook and Instagram for Old School Square, and about 205,000 impressions and engagements also down. Once again, this is all part of the algorithm issue. Public relations, that B is it's not a mistake. It's 1 billion people. So our public relations team killing it, not only for the DDA, but also for Old School Square, getting us in the news constantly. Our website is doing really well, 22,000 page views last month. Average time on the spin on the site is about 1:40, which is pretty good for a website. Twilight Tribute concerts, events, and the icons of art pages were our top pages. And this is a look at the paid digital advertising for Old School Square. Once again, we are constantly running paid digital advertising in order to combat what's happening digitally with Old School Square. The paid search, we spent about $1,100 last month and got almost 2,000 clicks to DelRayOldSchoolSquare.com. We're retargeting people, so if they come to our site and then they leave, we find them in other places and bring them back to the site. And these are the 3 events that we highlighted in paid digital advertising: Icons of Art, the opening, Beatles on the Beach, and the Twilight Tribute concert. Coming up at the Square, we have the opening of those 2 exhibitions that I just mentioned this Friday. This Saturday is St. Patrick's Day Festival which is the parade, and then the festival is on the lawn. March 20th is our next Twilight Tribute concert, which is next week. We're doing a Leonard Skinner. It's kind of classic rock tribute. And March 21st, we are going to have the Florida Panthers block party on the amphitheater and lawn. So mascots, dance team, we're partnering with them to bring their block party to Delray Beach.
When does that go live on any of the social media sites? Because it was on the fan out that I gave Mark, and he is like...
Yeah.
It's up now.
So they literally just gave us these assets Friday. So now that I have them, I can get them up. We just can't do anything until they gave us all their marketing stuff. So
I do have a question about these events, though. Is there a way where we can get a breakdown of information? Because when you go back the slide here, you had Beatles on the Beach, and you had 10,500 impressions, but only 159 clicks. And when I see that, as the old marketing teacher, I say, was this an effective event for all involved, and how much did we make?
It was. We only spent $100. That was basically just boosting the Facebook event. This was most of our. So this was February. Keep in mind. So remember, we had a week of advertising this last week in order for this. So yeah, I mean, he was doing a lot of advertising. We did a lot of press on this too. We got a ton of earned media on this, and I can bring you back those numbers. So, he also had his own digital stuff going on. Yes. So we didn't spend a lot of money, and that's good. 10,000 impressions for 159 clicks is pretty good. That means 159 people saw those and clicked on the link.
Sold out.
What's that?
Was it sold out?
No, it was not sold out. No, we didn't.
And we'll do a report on the Beatles.
Yeah,
sure.
it's
definitely. So that's
what I want to see, the breakdown of these
Absolutely.
events that are impactful. Because if we're giving money to an organization and we're splitting revenue, I think we should be keeping track of what our impact
just
is.
not all the numbers are in today.
Exactly.
So I want to make sure.
Why can't we get an income statement?
We will.
Because
which
Beatles on the Beach just happened this
ended.
weekend, and this is all only
It just happened this
February.
weekend, so now
Keep
they're
in mind,
gonna
this
get
is
the-
only February
I don't
numbers.
mean
He's
just
talking
on.
about from. He's
I'm
talking
talking
last
about
year.
every time we put a show on,
Mm-hmm.
we're generating revenue.
Yeah.
And we have expenses.
Mhm.
And wouldn't it be nice to know whether we made a profit or didn't make a profit?
Sure.
But we don't see that. It's not. I don't know that on any.
Well, that's in your budget. I mean, that's
We
in your
can-
financials.
we don't break it
No,
down.
I'm not
No,
talking about. But I'm talking
specifically.
about after it's actually occurred.
Right.
that we could see. I mean, we got this information. It's just a matter of reporting it.
Yeah.
What the revenue is and what the expenses are.
Sure.
And if you subtract the one from the other, you have net profit.
Sure, I can add that to the like the
Oh, that would be-
Twilight
that'd be
like the
very helpful.
Twilight concert here. I mean, that's the revenue. You know, it costs us more than that, so we're not making any money.
For example,
But it's just good if we
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
all the different projects. So then
I'll
we
add that.
understand. You may know, but we don't.
What's
Yeah.
that? What, is this stupid?
No, this makes
No,
sense.
you're correct.
Yeah, it totally makes sense.
We'll add it. I'll add it to
Wouldn't
the.
it be nice to have an income statement?
Yeah, 100%.
Right.
I mean, at the Arts Garage, that's how we
I know
ran
that's.
it.
I know we talked
We ran
about it
the
when I
whole
first
show.
came in. so
I mean,
we knew it was
everything we did
successful.
was look at what we made, what we built, what we did, what was coming, what our budget was. That's all we did. That's all. Anyway, I think it would be a help.
Okay, we'll add that in for next month.
Okay.
And then we can make this announcement that we are having a big act come to the square, the Pop 2000 tour with Chris Kirkpatrick from NSYNC. We have O-Town, LFO, and Ryan Cabrera. They're going to be here on the day after 4th of July, so July 5th, which is the Saturday. We're also going to be putting together a pop culture exhibition inside the museum to really create this whole kind of like pop situation throughout the whole campus. So yeah, that's locked down and ready to go.
That's actually how we decided to do this, because Mariska
Mariska
had
was doing the pop culture.
exhibition, so we were searching for talent around to bring the inside out. So now we have a fun night.
So get your
fun
tickets
weekend
now.
in downtown
Actually,
Delray
tickets aren't on sale yet.
for 4th of July.
You mentioned July 5th. Are we doing fireworks this year? on
We are
4th of
doing
July?
so. It'll be a great weekend. It's part of our summer plan. So as long as the barge doesn't get stuck, like it did last year, it'll be a fabulous fireworks show off of the ocean. So,
Fantastic.
and then the next night, you can stay for the next night. So it's a whole fun weekend in downtown Delray.
That's it.
That's it? Oh, okay. Great. Thank you. And just to kind of backtrack on some of the points that were in the report, Beatles on the Beach, we did have this past weekend. It was a beautiful weekend. No major incidents. Victoria and the team did an amazing job putting it together with Daniel and his team. And we were able to utilize the entire footprint this year, which was great because last year we weren't. So it definitely gave a better, much better logistics. We had a different production team that was out there, and great performance by them, as well as working closely with our city partners to make sure that the power, the landscape, everything was done in just real great format. And no major issues reported. I think the biggest issue is that we didn't have screens up on the fence, so we had a huge crowd gathering on the outside, which we had to adjust in conjunction with our police department. Were very helpful to get us to clear out the area on the Atlantic Avenue and First Avenue side. So we had to call in the big guys to come help us move people along and maybe spend some money with us. But other than that, it was great. No issues. A lot of very busy time though in downtown. We do also see a very big increase, as you all are seeing, by pedestrians and visitors. Our hotel traffic is solid, and seeing and also the increase in the room rates is obviously up. I haven't gotten a report from the county, but I know that we're running pretty strong for this month with the weather the way it is, projections, events. We're booked solid with events throughout the city for this entire month, leading through all the way almost to the end of April. So it is a very, very hectic time for all parties involved. but we're seeing really good results from that. Hopefully, trickling down into our businesses. There is a merchant meeting this Thursday at the Ray Hotel. Sorry, because we moved it. It's the Ray Hotel at 8:30 in the morning. So we'll see second floor in the Cube. So we'll be looking to really help prepare for the busy time as well as for summer. We're looking at numbers for summer. So, and as we mentioned that in your packet, you do have the notes from the restaurant meeting that was held in conjunction with the City Development Services team, and really had some great engagement and feedback from our restaurant owners and property owners that we took into account, as well as provided feedback to our city partners. Assistant City Manager Jeff Orris was in attendance, along with the Department of Developmental Services. Anthea led the meeting, and we had great attendance from there. Quentin was on site as well. But it was really good to get feedback from our restaurateurs that have been here for a long time, as well as some of our new ones, and really how we can help move forward, working together with the new. Also, Jerry and her team were there as well, so it gave some great insight on what we can do to really help make some change and move forward. So, anybody have comments? I know that we had several board members that were there present. Did you have any? Do we need to acknowledge that? No. Okay.
I thought it was great. I thought it was great to get everyone there. I've got some different feedback here and there. We've talked about some of it offline, and then I just say, make sure maybe we reach out to the people that spoke, send them our notes, have them add or subtract whatever they want, make sure we get it right. Just because it's such an important subject, I want to make sure everyone's
right.
got their ideas out clearly.
Good. Aaron, did you have any comments?
Towards the end, Anthea had made a comment regarding maybe we should do I forgot which other county she said it was, but she said that whatever you lease the building as, or whatever you're zoned for, that's what you should stay as, right? Because you had a couple restaurants in there that want to be restaurants during the day, then nightclubs at night. And I completely agree with not letting them turn them into nightclubs at night, because it's going to turn us into the Las Olas and Miami and South Beach places that people leave to come up here to get away from. So I completely agree with that.
It was really interesting because, again, some of the restaurants, said, we're happy. We don't need a hybrid. We're just a restaurant. We don't need to be a club. And then there's other places that say, oh, we move our stuff out and bring in bands, and then and there's only a handful of those. There wasn't like 20 people that are like, we want to move all the furniture. A lot of them were like, we're happy. We just want to follow fire occupancy and, operate our business. But, again, we'll see kind of how the code comes out. But it was interesting to see, where everyone was. Some people were for it, some people were against it. So
good. All right, good. So moving on. Any other questions?
Budget?
No, we're on 4C.
4.
We have approval of minutes and then into budget.
Gotcha. Anyone have any comments on the minutes, or can I get a motion?
Motion to approve.
Can I get a second? Roll call. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Unanimously approved. It wasn't a roll call. It's just to say, if you.
Yeah, and then we have 4D, which is our workshop minutes.
Yeah.
Did you want to wait on that till you got?
Yeah, the workshop minutes I like to wait just to make sure. Well, not for the Swinton workshop, if that's what we're talking about.
That is that's
that's
what's in your packet. Yep.
That's fine. That was a tough one again to kind of get the minutes all clear there, but I'm fine.
So moved.
Anyone else?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
It moves unanimously.
Great. So now on to 4E, which is the January financials. So in your packet, you have the financials for the organization with a summary that I've provided you all, and I can go through that if you'd like. If there's any questions or any comments?
Laura, I know that you were stating that you were going to reconcile some areas that needed to be moved around just to make sure it balanced the budget. When we were in your office, you said in 1 or 2 areas there was an ability to move something over. I don't know if that was
No,
done.
it's with our revenue. So once we see, now that we're through our audit, so
Yes.
next month we'll bring forward an amended.
There you go. Thank you.
Items to amend
That's
the
what-
budget.
okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mid-year.
It's next month.
And then
Yes.
some of the things I might bring up will tie to that.
Sure.
And we don't need to go through every single thing now, but what I would like to do is just run through them real quick if you want to take a couple notes. Because again, like, I like this a lot when you do the summary, but there were some things that I maybe had some questions on.
Sure.
But again,
Do you want to meet with separately, or you want to bring them up and then
I can throw them out pretty quick if you want. Again, maybe a lot of the other board, because I don't get to talk
Okay,
about the
sure.
budget,
Go for it.
with stuff they may not see that I see. So sponsorships raised, that's great because we don't budget for any sponsorships raised. So that's positive 26 grand right now. We're doing great. The things that jumped up, and again, Vera touched on it maybe, was like the expenses are at about 50% for the operating expenses it shows. And this is on page 2 of 14, and the office expenses at like 38%. If we're a quarter into the year, I just want to make sure, again, next time you can explain that and say how we're going to be fine or what's kind of changing. Then just note on page 3, the word expenses is misspelled, just a small one. That's on the line, the column there. Then I noticed miscellaneous advertising. We budgeted, I think, $4 grand for it. I think we used more before.
And I can answer that one right now because, as I said to you before, that number, and that was in our last memo last month, that then we went through with the last month expenses because that's our winter travel, our fall winter travel
Gotcha.
that we just we're ending.
That's normal to
So
spend
so
around
that's
88.
that was not forecasted, and so we put that in miscellaneous advertising. Because that came up at our October hotel meeting.
Workers' comp, I guess we're at, over 50%, just make sure. It's only $2,000 number, but
Yeah, it's a quarterly payment, so that's where we are. So we get
okay,
quarterly.
so then we're good.
Yeah.
We're 2 quarters in?
Yep.
Are we 2 quarters in or are we a quarter in? Time flies. Dues and subscriptions we went over last time. Legal fees we're at 50%. Just make sure we can afford Quentin, or if there's anything else coming up.
Can you afford?
Office supplies again we're at 50%. That's like 15 grand we've spent. I just want to make sure like I don't want these things to be like get
No.
worse and worse.
Right. So that's again perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Again, I don't even need all the answers. The social media, again, I see we've spent about 28,000 out of 42,000 budgeted. That's about 68%. That could apply into what we were talking about. Certain things got more, but again, when I see the 68% of a decently high budget, I just want to make sure, even if it tracks in our report the following month,
Sure.
just so we kind of know why it's off, because it's going to be off the next month too. Administrative and facility expenses, I know also we're kind of high. That we're at 54.5%, 38,000 spent of, I
Which-
think
where are you now?
80,000 budget. This is on for Delray Beach Old School Square.
Oh, okay.
This is 11 of 14.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, just so we're tracking. Again, I don't need it all now. I just want to make sure we get it kind of in line. And then I'm sorry to go through this. I'm trying to be fast, gang. The exhibitions, I love Maruska. Everything she's doing, she's killing it. But again, we're 66% of the budget, for the year, which again, we put, 25,000, and maybe we want to put some more towards the museum. It's important, but I just
Right.
want to make sure that we don't get into a situation where,
That-
hey, Maruska, you can't do the stuff you want to do.
Right. So part of the budget amendment will be, that's what we're forecasting for the rest of the year. So looking at what's coming, what's our plan.
Perfect, yeah.
Then we bring it to you next month with this is what we're forecasting. This is where we're taking the money from, or like in our revenues that are all donations. So if we've got 30,000 in donations, primarily where is that money going to go back into, right?
Perfect. Yeah, exactly. So I know we're positive in some, and again, I'm a budget guy when the things I look for. So that's all. Not to be answered.
So we'll spend more time on that next month. and
It's
just
getting
going
better. I really
through
appreciate
that.
it. I think what Harold brought up, something we talked about before too, is just understanding the actual cost of different programs and the revenues, and understanding because we're going to be more and more having to support ourselves.
Yep.
What works, what we want to do that might be not as much revenue made, but like we think it's important for the community or for the city. Then we can take all that into consideration.
Can I submit, and maybe this is a later discussion on an agenda item, when I drive in off 95, and I know people hear me say this all the time, The new signs have gone up with the Welcome to Delray Beach, which you know I am not a fan of, but I have to live with it, and I'm not the only person that lives here. But when I look at all the signage that we're inundated with as you come in 95, we have the banner signs that are all different colors in the set. We have the new blue waves, the black sign that says Welcome to Delray Beach. Then we have the large pillars that have the beautiful art. As an artist, it doesn't go together. And so we're making these decisions separate from one another, and then we're putting them all together. And I think we need to stand at the end of 95 and see what we see as a new visitor coming into Delray Beach. Because a lot of the things, some of them are modern, some of them have a different style. It needs to somewhat come together.
Is this on the budget conversation? Because we need to have those
approved
approved first.
Yeah, but it would cost money. I'm just saying, let's
okay.
put it on the radar and let's think about what that looks like. Because as people are driving in, you have these brand new signs, and choosing black as a color for a sign that we should see, everybody should see, is probably not the best thing, but it happened. It's done. It's over. Vera, get it over your head. Okay, just get it over with. But then you have all the set signs, and those are different colors. And then you have the blue waves next to them. It's just a lot of different stuff that didn't come together to give this look. When I think of the old signs, the Delray Beach signs that were on the red poles, I'm thinking we should have just kept those and painted them turquoise to match the signs that that downtown development does, and save some money and keep the quirkiness of it.
Put you on hold again. Do it during your comments, maybe, and let's just get the budget
That would be great.
finalized if we want. If
All
anyone
right.
wants to make a
That's the
motion,
last
then we come
action
back
item.
to it because
Before
I
we start
understand what
losing
you're
people.
saying.
Motion to approve the budget.
Yeah.
Second.
All right. Everyone in favor?
Thank
Aye.
Aye. Unanimously approved.
Now we can go into comments.
Yeah. Do you have anything you want to say, Laura? You're on the list first.
I don't have anything prepared, so no, just I kind of said it during our meeting. We're all really busy. Savor the Avenue is one of our biggest events. I know it's coming up in a couple weeks, and Danielle has been working hard in pulling that together. We have a great plan for the street. It's going to look beautiful. So if you all want to come out to attend, that's great. We are going to. It is our event, signature event. We present, so it'd be great to have the board members present during the presentation portion of it. If you don't want to stick around, I know we have some that have already made reservations, but if you also want to come out and help us put it together or tear it down, feel free.
All right. I like that
always
stuff,
use some
actually.
extra
I'm like, how we
hands.
deal with
Can I volunteer my kids?
Absolutely.
Oh, hey,
yes.
they're pretty strong.
Yes.
He's got some-
and their
some
friends.
strong-
Yes. It's definitely a beast to orchestrate. So we just love to help you do that. And then one other thing that we didn't have in our presentation of what we're working on with the city, it's March and it's Let's Move, and it's an initiative that is driven through, it's a countrywide event program, but it's really about getting active. It's Michelle Obama's initiative that was really getting people to be active, but the city takes a big role. It's a competition amongst the county of really tracking your movement throughout the month of March. So the DDA has a team under a sub-team under the city. So we're tracking all of our movement for the month, and we're doing pretty well because we've got a lot. We're
I'm
moving
happy
a lot.
to join on the team. I walk
Okay.
every morning a couple
Okay.
miles.
So
Also, I want to
you-
make sure Quentin's on the team as a prerequisite for legal counsel.
Do we have to pay for his
See
movement?
Let's track his movements.
So, but it is great, and we've made a sign out in the Libby Plaza to promote it. But we'll send out an email, and you guys can start tracking your
What do they
exercise
track?
too.
Steps?
Minutes.
No, minutes.
Of walking, running.
Any type of exercise:
standing
walking,
up.
running, swimming, aerobics, whatever your
Gardening.
Gardening.
Gardening's on there.
Very gray area.
So,
Is there gardening?
Yeah,
so that's a great segue into my comments.
Okay, very good.
So what I'm tracking in my spare time is the bills coming out of the Florida legislature. So I'm tracking about 500 plus bills right now, none of which are for the DDA, so they're not included in that number you saw.
Your money.
And I'm not charging for that. But all seriousness, I could talk a little bit more about the CRA bill if you want me to. There was a call this morning with the Florida League of Cities. As you know, they are responsible for advocating for the cities throughout the state, and that's one of the bills they're focusing on right now. I know our CRA, which is our commission, and our CRA executive director are very in tune with what's going on with that bill. But as of right now, you have House Bill 991 and Senate Bill 1242. It's going to be in the Senate side of the House in the Community Affairs Committee on tomorrow, March 11th at 4 p.m. It has 3 committee stops in the Senate. The House bill only has 2 stops, and that's in the State Affairs Committee and the Ways and Means Committee before they come into messages and get worked out if it goes that far and then gets approved in a full vote and sent to the governor.
And Quentin, can you watch that online, right? You can live.
Can you
or
watch
no?
those bills?
Yeah.
Or those hearings?
The committee meetings. Or
I think you can watch most of them through the public service channel. I forget the exact name of that channel, but I was actually watching something on that a couple weeks ago. So they jump around because it's committees are meeting all over because session just started last week. I'm sure you all are aware of that. So they may have that because this is a pretty hot topic. So they may have that on the channel. If they don't have it, I think they do record and put it on their site for you to review or view it after the fact. But it may be live streamed. But my recommendation, if you want to hear my recommendation on how to handle the correspondence or opposing the bill, would be to follow the lead of our CRA, because I know they're going to be strongly opposing this bill along with the city. So some sort of collaborative effort, and the city, I'm sure, has its lobbyists on top of this particular bill, so there may be some combining of efforts on that, so that we're not, as a DDA, just sending a letter to our representatives, that it comes at a package from the city of Delray Beach and the agencies involved in the city. So that would be my personal recommendation, and we can or the board, I would recommend, if that's the direction you all want to go, is to kind of delegate that to the team so that they can coordinate that and get that done in a timely manner.
Do you know why would the legislature want to get rid of the CRAs? What's the benefit to that?
Well,
Or is it lobbying from
No. I can tell you that was discussed on the call this morning. Essentially what was said, and we could talk a little bit more offline if you want, it was a particular representative, not in our region.
Naples.
It wasn't Naples.
Wasn't it? I thought it was Naples, no?
No, I don't believe so, at least.
I had heard rumors.
I know it wasn't our region.
I shouldn't don't go with my information.
No, you may be correct. I'm not trying to correct you, but it wasn't our region. I know that. That had an issue with how a particular CRA was directing certain assets, and they created this legislation through whatever means they did it, and it kind of grew some legs. So we're here where we are right now with it. Right. So it was as simple as that from my understanding.
Yeah. And it's not the first time this has come up.
Right.
Either. From the
And to clarify, you said earlier that does not do away with the CRA no matter what happens. This bill gets approved, it does not do away with the CRA in Delray until 2045 or something thereabouts. Is that correct?
right.
Correct. I know you got.
Yes, and I don't know that for. You said that for sure, right? They said.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
45,
That's
yeah.
what's news to me. So.
That's the expiration, but it is a more immediate issue as far as incurring projects and things of that nature. That is more immediate. That would be October of this year if the bill were to pass. So the Delray CRA would continue on, but it would not be able to
Do all its work.
do newer projects and things of that nature pursuant to that legislation if it passes in that same way.
So with that said, I mean, if I can see if there's consensus here, I believe Matt Frost is our city lobbyist, is that correct? At Ballard Partners, if I recall correctly. Do we see if there's consensus to give a letter to, in conjunction with the CRA and the city and so forth, or our own letter saying that we're opposed to this, and then pass it on to the city and the CRA and let them get it to Matt and whoever else?
So can I ask a question? Because I agree with what you're saying, that we need to, in a way, come to a consensus. But what is that consensus based on is what I said earlier. So if we put this letter together, is it based on the fact that it would cripple our downtown with progressive investment in moving forward to develop? Or is it that we just support the CRA and don't want it to go away? Because we need to figure out what the reasoning is, because of course we think it's necessary, but on what grounds? So when it goes forward, then they have that information as to why we believe it.
Well, I think the consensus from people who are following the bill and who support CRAs is that the CRAs are one of the tools, the most effective tool for economic development and affordable housing, which obviously generates revenues and things that the DDA is responsible for. So that would be the overarching theme.
Yes, that's what I want to make sure is that it's not just we support the CRA. It's these are the reasons, because it impacts us as well. So
Right.
it's a larger umbrella of reasoning to move forward in the direction that we see benefits our constituents, our city, and the development of downtown for economic development and revenue.
Right. And I also think you brought some clarity to the fact that basically, as of October of what year?
This year.
2025, they wouldn't be allowed to make further commitments.
Well, that's
to
what I was
anything.
thinking.
So,
Shovel in the ground. Are we going to be stopped?
right.
And stopped?
Well, yeah, so that's why. But they could make commitments, but not past that date. So for that reason, that's one of the main reasons why, again, I would be in favor of going with
Right.
the city and the CRA and giving consensus at this point.
If it were just a sunset, I think it'd be a
could have a
different
little
thing.
more time, yeah.
But because of the project, and you can't create. It's not an issue here, but you can't create new CRAs, which may be issues for other communities. I don't think there's any efforts to bring a new CRA here, but it's one of those issues that it's a statewide issue, of course.
So if this is something we want to take a position on, how do we know what we're taking a position on?
I'd
like to know more.
You should have gotten this letter. Did you get the Florida League of Cities letter?
I didn't.
I emailed it this morning. So if you didn't see an email, I just got it this morning.
No, I have no idea what this.
Well, let's do it next time. Do we have time to do it
I
in a
don't-
month?
I don't-
Tomorrow. Here.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Well, we could just have the, it came up last minute, I guess, as far as
the scheduling has been.
It's happening right now.
Yeah,
it's live.
It's
not
yeah.
Memorex.
It's not something that's going to be able to.
Right. No, I understand now. I'm with
No,
you.
I'm
Yeah. And again, I kind of told you where I sit on it, but I have to.
It's a major economic development issue for the city and other cities throughout the state, and that's one of the primary goals of the DDA is economic development.
No, I echo you guys. I mean, I think
Does anyone want to make a motion for?
Did everybody get to speak about it first before we?
No, I'm of the same opinion of them too. I mean, I'd want to back the city and the CRA on this. I think there's no reason to make a state ban on this or a state moratorium. They can take the municipality through it, I guess.
I'm gonna side with Vera on this one. I just want to know what we're doing and why.
Did you get a chance to? Okay.
So
Do I-
it'd be a support of the CRA and the city based on the fact that this would hurt our, economic development downtown and the advancement of workforce
Affordable housing.
Affordable and workforce is both,
Right.
I believe.
Housing
Right.
would be our basis for the letter.
And we also have Sorry. We also have projects that have been established, not necessarily completely in the pipeline, but I would hate for us to diminish any footsteps towards making those completions.
Right, and just like with most legislation, that's a very big gray area that I'm sure the CRA director and staff and the city, of course, is very concerned about. And it's one of the bills that, you know, the Florida League of Cities is very pushing strongly against. They're issuing many directives, you know, given their you know, their city constituents, you know, a lot of information on, telling them when the hearings are, because they follow a lot of bills, but they monitor a lot of bills, but this is one of the ones where they're strongly against it for obvious reasons.
Well, and on the backside, this is why I said we need to outline how it directly impacts us, because as a legislator, you're sitting there and you're saying, yeah, but if we let those sunset and they haven't been doing anything, think of the money and the savings that could go into this. So we have to be very firm in what it is how it impacts, and outline that directly so that they see the direct connection to our city and how we need to move forward progressively, especially with west of Swinton.
And is it truly though the savings, because isn't it tax increment financing? So
to the county. It doesn't stay here. It goes to the county.
It still goes somewhere other than where those cities are. So if it goes to the county, then the county can take it away and put it into someone else's.
Which is why you want to keep it in the
correct.
CRA.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So can we get the point. Can we go with that?
Yeah. Some of it does go back to the city, but the point of the matter is that's not clear in the bill, because the bill is, if you've read it or if you take a chance to read it, it's very short. It's a very simply worded bill, so that nuance that you're speaking to is not covered in the bill at this point, at least the last version I've seen. I'm not sure if there's amendments. So there's a lot of gray area, a lot of nuance that's not being reviewed and discussed. So that's the concern, the major concern of the cities and the CRAs, because it's creating, if passed as is, it would create chaos within that.
So are we saying that the 8 acres that's on West Atlantic, because that's in limbo right now, that couldn't go forward with the redevelopment of that property?
Well, they wouldn't be able to do it through the CRA.
If that's a real problem.
That may be one of the consequences of the bill.
The CRA would not be able to make any commitments. The city could maybe try, but the CRA would not be able to.
I don't know if that's true what you're saying, but that's one of the gray areas that it could be true.
Since it's kind of a moving target, it's moving very fast. I would like to give it, if everyone's on board, consensus to have our legal counsel and our staff and Laura continue to follow this, and I would be in support of what the city and the CRA are in support of, which is not supporting the bill.
Are you comfortable?
But that's your opinion now, right? Your personal opinion, because some of us have another opinion on the other side of that. That's why I want to read more and understand more.
Well, but it's happening right now, so we have to make a motion. You don't have to support the motion.
But to be in support of it or not in support of it.
Yeah, we have to make a motion now because it's happening. So
but
then there's
what is our position going to be? We don't know yet.
I was looking. Well, that's what I was saying. I was looking for consensus to let our
we're just
staff.
now learning about it, right?
So I'm looking for our staff, who I trust, who are on top of it.
I think what this I'm maybe speaking a little out of turn, but I don't think so. What the city and the CRA would want is for the DDA board, and obviously individuals as well, if that's warranted from you all individually, to support opposing this bill, because the city and the CRA are opposed to the bill.
Right. So our partners are opposed to the bill. Yeah. We've heard how it can lose a lot of money that stays in our city could go out, and we've heard how it can stop one of our bigger economic engines from making decisions.
Correct.
So again, I can't make the motion, but if someone wants to make the motion, that would
Just-
be to not support that bill and
Right,
to be
and-
in line with our city and our CRA.
And for what my suggestion was in the beginning is that you allow Laura to work with the city partners and the CRA partners in order to create whatever it's needed to manifest this opposition to the bill. So obviously she would communicate
Like
with
a
you
unified
all.
voice.
Right.
The whole-
It's-
I'm
right.
texting with Renee right
I
now.
don't-
We still need to work through Sonny's potential opposition to that voice, so I think we need to hear what he has to say. He has to right now.
No, I understand. The board will have to make a decision right now, or not.
Yeah.
But I think you have to make a decision right now, and you all are individually on the board, so you all don't have to see eye to eye on everything. But the board will speak as a collective collegial body.
And I guess for my comment, I've read the Florida League of Cities letter. I know a little bit, enough to be dangerous about it, but I still think we should be joining the city and the CRA and standing together and opposing this bill. And I think the reasoning behind it would be based on the letter that seems like it's pretty well drafted by this David Cruz. And
He's the legislative counsel
I don't think
for
it says anything. I'm having a hard time understanding it. I mean, one of the things we have to think about and discuss is the CRA today. Are we really happy with what it's doing? Is it really encouraging workforce housing? Is it really encouraging affordable? Has it done that? It has not, and it's continued to fail one time after another. So I just need to know and get more information to know what does this do to the CRA? I mean, does this give them more power, less power? Does that really take away the opportunities for affordable or not affordable? I'd like to see what the other side of that is. How does the CRA come out if they don't pass it? What does that mean? I don't have a clue, but I think we need to know that.
I think you bring some valid points and questions to the table, and I ask that up front, like what's the opposite of this if this doesn't happen? However, there's a few things that I think need to be considered when we're discussing this. Number one, it didn't come out of our area. So there's somebody who wrote this for another particular area. So we're getting kind of blindsided all these other places by this decision or this desire for the CRAs to be dismantled. Number two, our CRA has developed buildings around Atlantic Avenue, not necessarily on Atlantic Avenue, and one of them is tied up in litigation, so that is not their necessarily direct fault. But they have, I just went to the CRA event that they had on, I think it was Friday. When did I meet with you? Friday? Thursday. On Thursday, I went to the CRA gathering that they had at the 98 building on Northwest 5th. They have secured some of the businesses for the bottom level. They are now in the build phase. They are still working to do the co-op space that's up top, and they have also started looking at tenants for the other building that they built on Southwest 5th. Now, although of course, everybody wants to see West Atlantic, west of Swinton. I love that you said you want to change the language, so I'm going to honor you as well. We want to see development on west of Swinton, but we have to make sure that it's a measured approach. Of course, we all want the buildings to go up tomorrow, and I have had to come to my own self and say, Vera, they are doing a lot. After going over there and looking at all the plans and sitting there and talking to the employees, and I'm sure some of them are listening now because they want to see our thoughts on that, I think they're doing a great job with their outreach and trying to do what the CRAs are intended to do. So although we're asking, are we okay with the current CRA? I would have to wholeheartedly say yes, I am. I've interacted with them, I've engaged with them, I've attended their meetings. I am happy with our CRA. I would love to see accelerated movement, but we got to be honest about what's going on. So that's where I stand. So I'm in support of it.
All right. Yeah. I think our CRA is doing a pretty good job in general. I mean, there's always room for improvement, but I am seeing, a lot of good strides. They're winning awards. I mean, we're doing things, and I think Renee's pretty sure.
That's not what we're talking about.
On West
That's not what we're
Atlantic,
talking about.
Yeah, but what all we're talking about now, all we're talking about is whether we want them to be able to possibly do things, make commitments after October. and if we are in line with supporting our city that wants to do
Maybe
it.
if we had a new commission to run them, or if we had a better executive director, that might be the answer.
Well,
That's
the commission
not, that's
is
not where we're at, Brian.
Yeah,
that's not where we're at.
That's not where we're at. All we're doing
Oh,
is
I know.
there's something that's happening right now legislatively that I would like to see the board get on the same side as the city and the CRA. I don't know how.
So can I make a motion then, and then if there's opportunity for discussion and he'd like to revisit, we can do that. So I make a motion that we oppose the bill, and work with the partners to establish a letter that speaks to that.
I'll second that.
So we
Discussion?
want a roll call, or do you want to have
Anyone?
discussion? Any more discussion?
Second.
No discussion?
He's second.
Jim second.
No.
Oh, you did-
Happy
okay.
to have.
Yeah, if you want to have any more discussion.
Sonny second.
All right, roll call or not roll call?
So
Everyone in favor?
what's the motion again? Could you read it back?
To not be to work with the city and the CRA, not in favor of the bill, and to have a cohesive message.
Yes.
So what you're saying is we're voting to
Oppose the bill.
to oppose this proposition.
Yes.
Okay.
No, oppose the bill.
The bill.
To write a letter.
Oppose the bill.
Working with the city to oppose the bill.
Okay, working with the city and okay. opposing
That would
the bill.
disman, that
Okay,
would,
whatever. So, I'll just,
okay.
Can I?
Roll call?
I'll,
Vote.
Can we get a roll call?
Aaron Burton,
I oppose it. So am I saying yes or no?
No.
Yes.
No.
Well,
No, she's opposing the motion.
No, he's opposing the bill.
I'm opposing the bill.
Yes.
So then
So
yes.
it's a yes.
I'm saying yes.
Correct.
Yes to the motion.
Yes to the
Yes to
so
motion.
you're saying no.
No, you're saying yes to the
I'm
motion.
confused.
All right, so.
So the motion is to oppose the bill
Yes.
and work with the city CRA in order to provide a unified front from the city of Delray Beach's agencies that relate to the subject matter of the bill. So if you vote yes on the motion, you're approving for Laura to work with the CRA and the city to oppose this bill. If you vote no on this motion, you don't want her to do that. So you're voting yes.
Yes. CRA wants it. The city commission wants it. I want it. Yes.
Cole David,
Yes.
Brian Rosen,
Yes.
Jim
Yes.
Knight, Harold Van Arnhem,
No.
Vera Woodson.
Yes.
I think we motion passes.
Press hard. 6 copies.
4-1.
I have no further comments, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah. Woo.
5-1.
Are you sure?
All right. Who else? I was doing so good. I was doing so good
Yeah.
here.
15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're still all right. I was shooting for
1:45.
2:30. I was over. You know, I was really.
We're at 1:45 back there.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
Oh, that's
great.
right. Oh, with City, I
Yeah,
saved
that's
an
what
hour.
I'm saying. You saved an hour.
All right. Any
Back
other?
to the future.
I don't know if I was on board comments yet, but I'll.
You
I'll-
are, now you are.
Any other board comments?
Yeah, I just wanted to hand out this. This is the article that I don't think we have to make a decision right now about. This is with regards to the property taxes. And by all means, I have extras, so
Thank
leave
you.
them here.
Thank you.
There
Okay.
you go. Here, this is just about the
Thank you.
property taxes and the.
While you all are doing that, I haven't had any discussions with anybody in the city, but I'm sure the city is against this one as well. The League of Cities is also strongly opposing this bill, so if you want to make a motion on that, because it does directly affect
The DDA.
the DDA and its tax base, then you feel free to make that motion.
I would make the motion that we would be opposed of doing away with real estate taxes.
So we just
The
need a
bill,
second.
the bill that's proposed to.
Well, the bill, just to be clear, the bill right now, to my understanding,
It's not
I
a
can
bill
get
yet.
it's no, it is a bill to study the issue.
Study it.
Okay.
So it's not a direct elimination at this point, but the bill is being proposed to study it. There may have, I'm sure there's been amendments to that bill that kind of discuss the ins and out of what they're trying to do. But the overarching issue is, as the governor's, I think, clearly stated, is to eliminate to a certain extent property taxes in
And
the state
to
of
clarify,
Florida.
I think was that Senate Bill 852. Is that what it says in the article here? I think that's right.
So if we say we're against it, we're against them looking into it?
There's 1016 on here too that expands the homestead.
Well, that I'm for.
So the one thing that the Florida Downtowns Association that we're a part of is also attending the and going in town government days in Tallahassee as well, and they're following a lot of this as well. So I can bring back information to you on that as well.
Should we? I love that you brought the information, and thank you. Since it's only a recommendation to study, should we get deep in the weeds on our decision? Because the top of this paper that was brought forth says there's a push to end property taxes could leave a $50 billion hole in the budget. So it's a could be, maybe. So they're getting ready to try to study it. So I don't think we should jump right in until they bring information forward that we can.
If I may respond.
Yes.
You know, once certain things get further along, like the turn you were talking about earlier, it may be hard to stop it once it's already in motion. So I think obviously the league is opposed to it, and there's numerous bills. So the Senate bill, and there's House Bill 359, House Bill 775, and House Bill 787 that are related to this issue. So I think it's important, if you're going to take a stand, to take a stand now, because the issue is at hand.
This would be voting from obviously a board member capacity.
This would be from the board in general, if you choose to do that, and to
I don't know if I know enough on it, because I'm still like trying to get my arms around
to relay that
it,
to the
how
city.
It works, you know? It's like, honestly.
I would love to get rid of my taxes now. I'm fortunate that I've lived at the same home for 30 plus years, so my taxes are $6,400 a year. My neighbor's $54,000 in one direction and $39,000 in the other. So I'm not complaining here too much, you know.
Is it all? Is it commercial as well?
I don't. I think they're still studying.
It's numerous bills. Yeah. So each of them are a little bit different. Some of them are homestead related. Some of them are just general ad valorem related. What the league is doing right now, and they're collecting data from the different cities. So this one is not as crystallized as the one we just discussed. So they're collecting data on what the impacts will be. So I'm sure the city administration is looking into that and maybe putting together some data for the Florida League of Cities.
Can I try a suggestion here? I feel as if this one is not as crystallized or baked or whatever else. And we could always have, I think, right, a special call or something to each of the DDA board members and ask where their stance is on this.
Or just provide us more information on it, because it's so bleeding edge. Yeah. I don't have it, you know.
I just feel like I'd be pushing something down Vera's Road here, and
my taxes, if you even
so
knew.
Forth.
Okay,
we can find my taxes on the ground. But here's the thing: I want to know what the options are for filling that hole. That's why I don't want to discuss it until we know what they're going to do, because we could be saying no to this, and then all of a sudden something else go way up over here, and we don't sales tax.
They're talking about doubling it. It's
right?
One of the suggestions.
And that's all I'm saying is that we could be putting ourselves in a situation where we have reacted and didn't wait to see what the other piece
which
of it
is again why I wonder, if is it commercial, is it just residential? Because I'll tell you, a lot of folks on the West Atlantic Avenue side, you know, have owned their properties for a while, but unfortunately, you know, the 6,400, the 9,000, the 10,000, you know, is a lot for some of those families to carry sometimes.
It's
on
significant,
everything else.
and we did actually.
I just want to finish. I've seen firsthand families lose their homes due to this, and these are generational type homes in small neighborhoods. So I just don't know how it works. I know it is a real thing, and I've seen it affect people, and I've seen people get put into positions where they're borrowing money to do it, and then they're paying their taxes but losing their home to a loan that they took money out to pay their taxes. I mean, this is like real thing in people's lives. But I just don't know, you know, again, how it
push it a bit, right?
Push it, maybe provide some more information.
I think so.
Property insurance is even worse.
That's not in the bill.
Yeah, of course.
All right,
but
so
I think one of the things also, and you know, I'm not sure what the city exactly is doing. I know all cities are keenly aware of this particular set of bills, and you know, some of the information that they may have may be a little more direct to what they're doing and data they're collecting on the impact that, you know, a significant reduction, because there's some proposals for I think 100, homestead 100K. I think it was.
And I believe the city commission just did it last year or last 12 months, where they increased or went along with some other cities with their budget that you could get an additional $25,000 if you're over a certain age, if I recall correctly. I believe I was at one of the hearings for that. So that helps out some of the people out there. But I think this particular one, it probably behooves us to take a pause for a week or 2 weeks, or
just give us more information as it keeps coming. You know, just feed us.
and then we can
bills.
individually decide how we feel about it and so forth. I mean, so.
Yeah.
And then one last thing, if I could, under board comments, I just wanted to give a shout out to Gary Ferrari, who's now been promoted to captain. And so he's always been out there in the community and everything else. Way to go, Gary.
Way to go, Gary.
Yeah, he's been working hard.
Can I go next?
Yes, ma'am.
I have 3 things. And this is to Al if you're watching. Al, today was the National Day of Rest for African American women. Why you're at home, I don't know. Should be me. Should be me, Al, okay? And that's in honor of Harriet Tubman's death today. So this is the day of her death. And so, Al, you owe me one. The second thing is the vape sign is still up in the pink building, the poster board vape sign, and our code enforcement person was here, and I forgot her name off the top of my head, and I was like, oh, she's leaving. So I wanted to reiterate that sign still is in that window, and it drives me nuts every time I drive in here. And then the last thing is happy celebration of Women's Month. Since I am the only female on this board, I want to take the time to honor. Last month I was excited because it was Black History Month. Now it's Women's Month. I am actually probably going to start trying to get Happy Aunties Month, because that would, give me the trifecta. But I want to thank all the women who do hard work every day for the city of Delray Beach. Without you, we know, okay? Wink, wink, we know. This world doesn't run on Duncan, it runs on women. So thank you, okay? There you go.
Thanks, Vera.
You're welcome. That's
Anyone else?
I had a question. Is there any update with the head shop ordinance that was getting talked about?
I will get one and provide it to you all. It's making its round, so I'll see when it's on the commission agenda.
Cool. Thank you.
That's where I was going next. So.
I'll be fast. Again, Nate, your late night ambassador, still like walking around, meeting my businesses, talking to everyone. It's going well. I hope to catch up with Jerry Pryor, who was here, code enforcement, to do a walkthrough. Hopefully we'll have an update next month on that. And the last thing to throw out there is coral reefs. I know we have a group who's looking to do a lot to help put some live coral on some reefs and do some things. And again, I was fortunate enough, sat on the board of the Coastal Conservation Association, did the reef drop with the 11 reef balls down there. They just did the Bob Burton drop, which was this beautiful statue memorial that they dropped right in the, we always referred to it as like the Sandaway, like reef park, and tied it to Sandaway. I'm going to be working with some of the folks that are trying to do this new live coral thing. I'm going to hopefully get them connected with the Coastal Conservation Association, because they have been able to do some of these deployments. And I know there's some universities studying the coral growth. It would be great to just have everyone working together. And again, I think it could end up being a really great tourism attraction for the city. And again, just building habitat in our oceans is something I'm always been focused on protecting and, keeping our oceans for future generations. So.
Being as you're working on that, you want us to put forth that you will continue to work on it on behalf of the DDA?
I'll continue to work on it, but we'll maybe bring that up in the future as we figure out more ways we can maybe help facilitate the conversation, even bringing it to the community, because I don't think the community really understands. There's a marine park half a mile out.
Well, at the last commission meeting, there was a huge presentation done by
I
this
saw that one.
organization.
But that's a different one. That's one coral. That's the live coral people, but that's not the Coastal Conservation Association who's already dropped all this stuff
Sure.
down there. So I think
So with that, I just want to also let everyone know that we are also in the final stages of the blue flag designation for the third time. So they're in the final stages of reviewing that, and there'll be an announcement in the next probably month or so.
awesome. I'm done. Everyone done? Go ahead, Sonny.
Laura, I'm hoping maybe the next meeting we can get an update on some of the vacant retail along Atlantic. I mean, it seems so many. I just keep noticing it more and more, and I wonder what the status is. Why are they being held up? It'd be interesting to.
I do. It's interesting that you said that, because I do have an email that I had pulled from, or I'd emailed the city to get status on some of those vacancies that are there, where they are in the project, if there is anything happening in that. So I was going to forward that to the board.
I think there might be
with
some
the
way we
status
could-
of where they are.
Yeah, maybe we can help them in some way.
Right.
I don't know what that would be, but maybe we can help them in a way, because it's so sad that they're all, it's dark. Yeah, well, and they're losing money. I mean, some of them may never open.
Yeah.
Right.
Any update on the ones on West Atlantic? I know we brought that up the other time. It was the
I
Dunkin'
just know
and
that
the
they're
Tropical.
still in process. One's waiting for a reapplication, and they're going through the TAC process, the Technical Advisory Committee, with notes. I can just give you the update. So, I mean, there's the Rockahula that's in the Taverna Opa space. They're doing interior builds, so they got their permit for interior. They're going on that. Now they're going through the site application. He resubmitted his application, and hopefully we'll get feedback by the 17th. So I have a whole list of all of their detail, from the old Cabana site to the Taverna Opa site, 524 West Atlantic, which is Tropical Smokehouse, which is the old Poor and Famous. That's the one that has to resubmit his application. Ace Hardware, the old Ace Hardware building, which is now it's a new retail store that actually is getting, hopefully it's approved, and we'll be getting their, they have their ZCU, so they're getting ready to open, which is great. That's been probably under redevelopment on that space probably for 2 years. So seeing that, Docks is, so the Docks plan, the 10 North Swinton site, certified on October 29th, 2024, with an extension granted until December 6th, 2028. Right now it's in a plat request. They're waiting for submittals. So that's the Docks project right here.
Are you sending that to us?
I am.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, I am. No, take all the notes. So, and then Meisner Electric area, which is where Ocean City Lumber. So Meisner Electric is under that where that whole plaza almost. You've got LeBrew's Room and the Meisner Electric redevelopments all under redoing that whole area.
I heard there are leases in places for those areas.
Right. So American Social's going into Meisner Electric. So they're in the process of all of their applications and permitting and rebuilds there to redo for a restaurant. That's restaurant there on the corner of Northeast 1st Street and Northeast 2nd Avenue.
Caddy corner from Hotel Hyatt.
And then in the Brews Room area, that's under they're submitted, but now they're going in through application process. So I'll send this to you. We do have a new retail store that's opening up in the 401 East Atlantic, which was where Haystacks was. They moved out probably 10 months ago. Haystacks did after our last season. So Tweeds, which is a men's department store, Suits, it's a men's clothing store, which is great.
Ooh, hey.
Yeah, Quentin.
They gotta go where Quentin goes shopping.
So that's great to see. They're going to be open soon.
Yeah.
So it's
new bagel place going in at the old
Popcorn House.
The old Popcorn House.
We just learned of that on Friday.
That's good. We need bagel place.
Yeah, new bagel place going in there. Another vacancy filled.
Groove, right? So on West Atlantic in Studio 404, we have a new restaurant opening up. Restaurant and daiquiris on Studio, where it's on West Atlantic, right next to Smoke Shop, and the Yeah, it's in the Clay Wyman building, or James T's. So that is in process right now. They should be open. The restaurant part of it should be open soon. They were hoping to be open and available for art and jazz, but didn't make that. So there's things happening. It's unfortunate. So when we'll share all that. So you're
Brick Cops is site plan approved. They're just waiting to see that move forward.
I'll get that. So I'll try to get more. So if there's others you want to share with me, I'll get more information and send it out to you guys.
When did they pass the in lieu? Was that just recently, right? I mean,
December.
December. Okay, so it just hit the
Pavement.
LDRs today, and it's retroactive.
Oh.
I mean, all my stuff that I've submitted, we were told today doesn't apply.
Oh.
I mean, it's insane, this city. Anyway, enough.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Anything else, anybody? All right.
Everybody, motion to adjourn.
Oh,
Do
wait,
you
go
have
ahead.
something to say?
Yeah, go ahead, Ann. Yeah,
Go
please.
ahead. Perfect.
Good.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine.
I just want to
Floor
say,
is yours.
oh, thank you. I just want to say, copy off of what he said. Congratulations on the cops. They just got recently promoted. Without Major Russ, Major, and his crew, we wouldn't be able to discuss or have any of the things we do have in the city. And I love this city, but I wish the commission would support them as they are needed to be supported since they're on demand, underpaid, and anything I could do to help them, I'd like to do that.